We're about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
All right. Good morning. Good morning.
GM.
Morning.
How's it going, guys? Having a good
Very
Monero
good.
morning?
Indeed.
Right. Oh, we get a little reverb.
Yeah.
Bawdy, I think it's you.
It is.
Maybe mute yourself. Okay.
Actually, might have been me.
No, it's
Yeah, both. I don't know what's going on.
Mute.
I don't think it's me, though, guys. Yeah, mute. Go ahead, mute. Okay. Tux, can you hear me?
All right.
Yeah, I hear you.
We are live. Let me just tweet it out. So big show as always today. Beautiful Monero morning. We're going to try to just cut to the chase and get Bawdy up right away today because he's got to run, do some things, explore the great outdoors, living the life. So yeah, I won't drone on with a long intro as I normally do. I guess just a little house cleaning or things to bring up. I will say PorkFest coming up. You go to Monerotopia.com/PorkFest, learn all about it. We will be there. We will have a tent. So if you can't make MoneroCon, come to PorkFest. It's literally the same time, same weekend. Great time to come out and hang out with Monero people. There'll be a lot of liberty-loving people. Thousands that attend PorkFest, and then I'm sure we'll get a good crowd that will be coming over to the tent. So check that out. I won't be shilling anything else for now. Without further ado, let's get Bawdy up here so he could do his thing and get on with his day.
All right, let's do it.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exolix, a privacy-focused, non-custodial instant crypto exchange. Go to exolix.com to enjoy secure and completely anonymous swaps with no KYC or sign-up. Swap between Monero and 2,000 plus assets at the most competitive rates and with no limits. Exolix.com, your fast and secure way to privacy.
All right.
I think that was our quickest intro ever.
Yeah, I'll try
guys,
and probably going to power through this.
Okay, yeah. Do what you gotta do, guys. Like and share. We only got 27 live viewers right now. Let's crank it up here. We should. I'm sure there's plenty of Monero curious out there right now. People that have seen Monero, recent price rise. It's caught their attention. Let's bring them over into Monerotopia land. Oh, what do you got there, Bawdy?
Oh, nothing.
Some
Proprietary. That's actually probably
your
the code
IP?
for the wave magic. So yeah.
Oh shit! He
Yeah,
flashed it
my
up there.
intellectual property, which doesn't exist. It's over. Someone's taken it. It's done. Good luck. It's the libraries and the filtering. That's the real magic there.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're probably gonna kind of wing this today. I haven't really prepared much for you guys, so I haven't looked at the charts in a couple days. But
All right, give us your fresh take. Obviously, I think looks like Monero's at least been holding up well relatively against the broader crypto market. But yeah, tell us where we're at.
Yeah, looks like we've been doing pretty good. I know I saw Bitcoin kind of had some maybe not problems, but it sort of stopped out where we talked about last week. Said, hey, it's probably gone a little far. Don't expect to get too much more gains immediately from Bitcoin. But Monero kept going up pretty much through the entire week. We just kept getting little gains. So that's nice. I just have to imagine fundamentally that this dude that was willing to take a 30% haircut on swapping into Monero is still probably trying to eat up as much liquidity as he can. So it's just difficult to see that this I mean, okay, there's going to be people taking profits, normal Monero people taking profits, or probably, let's just say, normies that got into Monero are going to be like, oh, should I take profit now? Like, no, stop it. Don't be stupid. It's said in the Jim Cramer voice, obviously. But in a general sense, if we go to the weekly here, I mean, it does look like we're going to hit the underside of this pleb line.
I'm not hearing Bawdy right now. I think he's breaking up.
Yeah.
See if he gets back on. Do we know if this guy is still buying, swapping Bitcoin into Monero? What happened with the wallet tracing there? It's like it just stopped.
I haven't seen any news related to it. I mean, it's possible he still is. I see Bawdy's screen moving. I think I just don't hear him.
Yeah, Bawdy, we don't hear you, man. Yeah.
If he is swapping more, I'm sure he's tried to obscure as best as he could, or maybe he's using the last couple swap services that don't do AML checks.
Yeah, but I'm saying we would at least be seeing it move, like Bitcoin moving out of his wallet, right?
Potentially.
Interesting. Yeah, for those who, while we wait for Bawdy, for those who are interested in price and Monero's price in particular, the guest I had on this past week came on. He's a chartist as well. I think pretty kind of renowned on X. Looks like he has a relatively large following. He's a big gold bug, and he came on and he spoke about gold, Bitcoin, and Monero. He really just talks about these things in price. Like he's really not even interested in the tech of crypto. He's just interested in the fact that Bitcoin is starting to mimic gold. And he's interested in Monero's price. So he made the bold prediction. Well, seeing it, potentially he was calling for like 2K to 3K Monero USD, and a 0.03 XMR BTC ratio. So that was quite bullish. If you guys want to check that out, it was pretty fun to hear somebody say that. Obviously, he's just a chartist at the end of the day, but I think he's made some pretty good calls on gold. He's been looking at gold.
Sorry, Bawdy. He said his phone overheated.
Oh, really? It was North Star Charts was the name of the guy that I had on. So is he out? Is Bawdy done? What is this that is this Bawdy's?
Yeah, that's him. Because he uses a separate computer to share the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, looks like he's trying. You think he's out? He's down for the count?
Probably. He already was strained for time anyway. So.
All right. Well, that was the shortest price report. Did you run the price report? You did, right?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. We got it in. We got the price report in. Nobody can say we didn't do price report. But like I'm saying, if you want an extended price report, check out this week's Monero Talk. Tux, did you catch it at all? Did you see any of it?
I've not watched it yet.
This guy's a big gold bug. He's been watching gold for many years. But he seems to have charted it pretty well and kind of called a lot. You might be interested in his silver take. He spoke about silver as well.
I need some silver copium.
Yeah, he could give you some good copium. He could give you some good silver copium for sure. Silver just doesn't freaking budge, huh? I don't really follow it other than hearing you guys talk about it, but it is kind of funny. It's just like completely missed all bull markets, just kind of sitting there. But yeah, he thinks a rotation into silver will happen. Once the broader market crashes, and he kind of sees that as impending, happening within the next 6
Bawdy's
months to a
back.
year. Oh, he's trying again.
Hello.
Hey.
I don't know how let me shut this door, but
You get a little echo there.
All right.
It's all good. I turned on the background.
Great. This one was, I had earbuds in my graphene, and then I don't know, it just overheated and something. Vandium just shut down, refused to start. I couldn't connect my earbuds to this Linux Mint Bluetooth. Do you guys have problems with Linux and Bluetooth? Am I the only one?
I have before, occasionally.
I don't run into that.
I don't really
issue.
use it.
All right, how's my volume here?
Sounds good.
This is good. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, Bawdy, were you able to catch? Did you catch this week's show? I interviewed that guy, the chartist, North Star Charts.
No, I didn't, but I guess I should if he's.
Yeah, you might want to
guy.
check him out. Yeah, you might want to check him out. He was quite bullish. He's like strictly a chart guy. He's been like following the trends for decades. He's very interested. He follows gold. He basically charts gold in the broader market, Bitcoin, and he's actually interested in Monero. He's very bullish on Monero.
Oh, right on.
He's talking about 2 to 3K Monero, potentially getting back up to 0.03 XMR BTC. In some scenario, if things really go according to his stars, but it's worth checking out. I think you'd be interested in.
No, 100%. Take a look at that video for sure. Yeah, if you had a chart.
Totally. And yeah, he was talking about silver as well, so you might be interested in that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I am considering a silver pivot. It's kind of inherently dangerous to go with silver over gold, but that might be the pivot here soon.
Yeah, he kind of like saying, market will be broader market will be taking a downturn at some point, like an extended downturn, and it sounded like that's when he was saying to transition into silver. Is kind of like the point.
Oh, interesting. I wonder. Okay, I'll just have to listen to it. I wonder if he would be expecting a sort of commodities breakout at the same time. Because silver should break out. Like if there's a commodities breakout, that's when silver has a good chance of running. So I don't know where I fell off with you guys. I felt like I was probably talking to myself for a good moment there.
Yeah, I think you're talking to yourself for maybe like 3 minutes.
Okay.
Frank is saying that was a great interview this week. Yeah, it was cool. It was fun. It was very, very bullish. And he's not like a Monero guy. He's not some Monero maxi at all, really. He doesn't really know the Monero tech. He just was looking at the chart. And even Bitcoin, he doesn't seem to be that interested in. He's kind of more of a gold bug. He's one of these gold bugs, but he does see interest in Bitcoin as it is starting to, more closely mimic digital gold. Although he's saying at this point, it's really not gold like at all. It just trends with the NASDAQ and the broader market. And he doesn't really see it acting as gold at all, but he is interested in it.
Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and try and power through this even faster. All
right. Yeah. Do your thing.
Sorry about that. I guess we'll have
2X.
Ronan clip out the miss or whatever. Anyways.
Bawdy on 2X. Here we go.
Yeah, probably 2X. I don't even know if I can go 2X. I'm already at 2X. Yeah, anyway, so I think we talked about what we said is that Bitcoin had some issues, some problems. Not really problems, but it kind of flattened out where we expected it to last week. We said, hey, don't expect a big breakout any further from Bitcoin, at least for a little bit. Expect some consolidation, but Monero over the past week just continued to put on new gains day by day. So that's quite good. I feel like at this point, there's a really good chance that we just see Monero touch the underside of this pleb line right here. The other thing too is that, forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but this guy that did this heist and was willing to take a 30% haircut on his swap just to get into Monero. It's hard to think that this guy isn't continuing to swap into Monero and whatever liquidity that he can find. So he's probably continuing to help push the price higher. He's probably continuing to swap. So it's difficult to think that this would be the end of the breakout, right? It feels like, this breakout is probably going to continue. And like we said, it's not like, oh, well, it's just some heister got into Monero and, okay, bro, if that's all your price is made up. No. There was no more selling pressure left. This breakout was going to happen sooner or later. It was just time for it to happen, whether it was this heist or something else, a whale buying even just $10 million of Monero, right? This was going to happen. This was coming. So yeah, it looks like we're probably going to try and hit the underside of this pleb line. The beautiful part would be if we were able to get above this pleb line, right? Kind of do something like this. get up here, maybe like flirt around with that, and then start breaking out like to this, to the upside there. And you can see on the dates down there, if you just go straight down, you can see that could happen between now and the end of the year. Like we could be back at all-time highs by the end of the year, potentially. Like the chart wouldn't be preclusive to that possibility. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other things here. Probably Bitcoin to Monero ratio. I imagine this is doing quite well at the moment. Yeah, it looks like we've continued to go up. Oops, sorry, I'm on a touchpad here, so might be a little bit delayed. But yeah, so it looks like we've done pretty well relative to Bitcoin. Dang it. Let's go back. There we go. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to expand this chart somewhat so we can see a little bit more of it. Yeah, usually, so this purple line has started to curl up a little bit. All right, we're on the daily here. Yeah, it's a little bit slow on the charts. We probably won't dwell too long on this because I'm getting delays. But yeah, Monero Bitcoin price still breaking out as well. And you'll see when we take a look at Bitcoin that that does make sense. Obviously, Monero versus gold also still doing pretty good here. I would actually wonder, we're actually starting to get to these blue bands, which are going to act as kind of a resistance level. We're at the very bottom of what could be that resistance level there. So, you might, we wouldn't expect this to stop just yet, but somewhere in this zone, right, is where you're going to see the gold to Monero ratio probably have a tendency to slow down. Maybe need to consolidate a little bit. Oh yeah, we talked about next C last week. Let's see, did they come back to, I guess eventually it looks like they came back to normal. Let's go ahead and try and, where are the settings? Double click. Yeah, so what we're looking at is the volume adjusted price divergence, but we're just going to remove the volume adjustment. Yeah, okay, so they maxed out at -6% relative to Kraken. So I guess they're back to normal now. All right. Very, very typical action, very Binance style reminiscent action there. All right, let's go to the total crypto market currencies situation. Monero still basically doing better than everyone else. Kind of having a pullback this week. It's more of a consolidation, a slight pullback, more so a consolidation. Yeah, I guess looks to me like Tron here is still performing at the top. Bitcoin and Bcash also still top performers there on this chart. And let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart, the big abusive daddy of all the cryptocurrencies. Eventually we're going to have to move out of the house because Bitcoin's going to continue abusing everybody, especially the maximalists. No, just kidding, obviously. Okay, yeah, so we talked about last week, said, hey, these blue bands right here are definitely a place to look for some kind of resistance. And at the moment, it's kind of difficult to imagine Bitcoin just shooting to the top side here, but honestly, anything can happen. There was some big news, I guess. There's always big news. It's just big news with Trump constantly, the biggest, the most fantastic, fabulous. They've reached a trade deal with China. So now the tariffs are back to above where we started before Trump's term. So still higher, but not as high as they were threatening. So you never know, guys. The next thing we know, they're going to be like, time to turn the tariffs back up. Like there is some components of just straight up fraud happening to jack the markets around when it comes to these tariffs. So like, just know that that's happening. Know that they can pivot on a dime. Know that the markets can just be like, oh my God, we've got to put tariffs on some other country. I don't know, India or Japan or whoever's a bad actor, right? They're going to put the tariffs on that country, and Trump's going to negotiate with himself until he negotiates himself down to lower tariffs again. And ultimately the art of the deal will shine through. Basically, that's what's happening. I put that a little bit whimsically, but effectively, right, that's what you can expect from the Trump and Melania coin presidency in terms of market dynamics. If I don't have any opinions, guys, actually, on where this chart goes right now. This thing could, for no reason, just decide to shoot to the top side. Maybe they print 10 billion Tether next week and we just see this thing go to new all-time highs. Or maybe it drops down. I am curious. I do want to see where did we end on the macro this week? Is this the macro? I guess it is indeed. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I'm kind of winging this, guys. I'm looking at the charts with you for the first time after a couple of days here. Yeah, okay, so reverse repo is not showing us anything that useful. It has a slight feel to it, like it might want to go up, but I don't think we can rely on my feels here for what that chart's going to do. Let's see, oil price still hanging out pretty low. Yeah, you probably got the OPEC weighing on it. There's a little bit of the negative removed. Here's another thing that seems to be happening. So because of the tariffs, yes, tariffs, no situation, you're getting massive shipments at the times that tariff windows are down. So they're like stocking up in the United States. Like a lot of companies are stocking their products here while they can, in the anticipation that who the fuck knows what the tariff meister in chief is going to be doing next. So yeah, oil's probably gonna remain somewhat stable here. I wouldn't expect oil to actually like make some massive comeback, and it's probably not going to crash down to like 50, 40 anytime soon. It's probably reaching some sort of stabilization level for now. Oops, didn't mean to do that, but that's fine. Let's take a look at gold. I think gold has had actually quite a significant pullback. Last I checked at the end of the week, it seemed to be, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this isn't too surprising, guys. We said, hey, gold is starting to feel kind of toppy, right? Like gold is feeling like, and then we also have my purple band. I won't add that to the chart here, but gold is starting to feel a bit toppy, and it exactly tagged that statistical level that I said, I don't know entirely why it works. I just know that it historically it has. It's an acceleration metric for moving standard deviation and done in a non-arbitrary way. So it's not like the second or the third standard deviation. It's a not completely non-arbitrary way to extend that concept. And we tagged that line. And so I said, hey, I'm still not selling my gold, even if that was the top. There'll be another chance, probably not at the absolute top, but there'll be another chance to get out of this thing. If we get clear macro conditions. I'm like the guy that I guess was on your show. I still worry that I don't think the macro conditions are great, right? I don't think that we're in a good macro situation. I think that if we were, all of this nonsense with tariffs wouldn't be necessary. And I think that we really have to worry about the danger of resumption here some point later on this year. All right, so I'm not really seeing too much on the macro here, actually, that's super useful for us. So let's try to go to stocks and just see if we can pull out any signal there. Actually, I think stocks did pump bigly this week, and that's something that that was kind of like something said, hey, stocks still have room to run, right? From last week, we knew that stocks still had room to run, again, because of my Astrology for Dudes proprietary wave magic system, which is actually magic. I was consulted numerous magicians and wizards before creating it, and they assured me indeed it is in fact magic. So yeah, we're basically coming here on stocks. If I only had a mouse. This touchpad is making me a little bit laggy here, making me a little bit slow. Okay, anyways, yeah, so stock basically wanted to come to these top lines, right? These blue lines right here, these blue bands, that's a very, very reasonable place, reaction bounce for us to have expected. And it looks like it wants to continue, the S&P wants to continue all the way to the top side here of this blue band right there. So probably there's still more gains to be had in stocks. It does seem like the market still has an appetite. It feels just intuitively. So we're going to go on my feels here. The market has a risk appetite. I think that we can expect some drift higher. Guys, I think stocks are getting close to this kind of no man's land area. In fact, the entire risk market sector is getting close to like a no man's land. Bitcoin is kind of in a no man's land. People know, they just know intuitively, people know Bitcoin has this tendency to skyrocket, stop, bleed out, act like it's about to break out, and then not break out, right? And you've already had these big gains. So people are like, well, shit, maybe I should take some profit on these gains. It could be difficult for things to really go meaningfully higher here. Gonna have to so this is a situation where I don't feel like my technical analysis gives us a good indication that it's, it gives us an indication that we're encountering some resistance. I don't think we're going to get any good indications about whether that resistance is just consolidation to go higher or is a capping place. In terms of the macro, the broad situation, right, the long-term situation, I see the macro and I say these tariffs still have to weigh on the economy. They still affect companies' balance sheets. We still had negative GDP for Q4. I guess technically we had positive GDP for the last quarter, the first numbers that came out, but they always revise those lower. So just in general, guys, we can't rely purely on the tea leaves here to understand what we're going to do next. We're going to have to figure out something when it comes to the news situation, the news cycle, and if there's any fundamental macro events happening. So at the moment, I don't have a whole lot of good trade tips for you the last few weeks, really ever since the whole macro crash scare, like 6 weeks ago, whenever that was. I felt like I had pretty good short-term tips for you guys to be like, hey, get here, do this. But I don't feel like I have nearly as good a signal on what the market is going to do over the next week. So, yep, sorry, I can't give anything great, any good trading tips. But I can just give you kind of like a general orientation about where things are at. I can tell you that we are at kind of a consolidation point. I think there's probably still a little bit more juice to go higher in the risk markets, and Monero definitely seems like it's got juice to continue going higher. And another thing too, if you think about it, we've continually seen this pattern where markets have a situation where they're consolidating, or maybe they're slightly positive or slightly negative, and Monero tends to make good gains during those times, right? During stable times, Monero seems to outperform the markets. It's during like the big pumps that Monero tends to underperform the market. So this is probably actually a good situation here for us for the Monero price in general. So yeah, interestingly, now that I'm looking at the NASDAQ, this line right here looks to me like markets might want to try and tag the underside of that line, right? Tech stocks, the NASDAQ, is probably going to go for that line. And at the moment, you can see it kind of corresponds with the top of the blue bands as well. So in a technical analysis, again, if you've got stocks, or if you're a stock trader, bro, or whatever, and you're big finance, little finance, you're in the traditional markets, you've probably got a bit more juice to squeeze from this guy. But it's starting to get a little bit long in the tooth when it comes to stock market gains. So yeah, we're going to call it there. That's a good enough price support. Gave you a quick overview. Hopefully, hopefully that gives you guys some ideas for you dirty, degenerate traders out there. Handing it back to you, gentlemen. Mr.
All
Tuxedo.
right. Thank you, Bawdy, for your 5x price report. 5x speed for 5x gains, hopefully.
That's right. To the moon. Zoomer. All the way.
All right, I guess we'll probably go ahead and I don't see the guest on, so we might go ahead and head into the news. But thank you so much, Bawdy, for quickly coming up while you could. And sorry you had the technical issues, but have a good rest of your day.
All right, thanks. I'll see you next time.
Thank you, man.
All right, Doug. So I don't see the guest immediately in the backstage, so I guess we could head into the new segment. I think you're muted.
Let's go ahead and do news. I will make sure he has the link. He definitely knows it's coming on. I saw him tweet. So yeah, let's go ahead and do news in the meantime.
All right, let's do it.
The Monerotopia Weekly News segment is sponsored by WizardSwap.io, a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange.
Tony,
Tony,
guys.
GM.
Good morning. How are you guys?
good man. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Good. It's election, the last part of the election for Romania. So tomorrow I'm going to go to vote, and it's huge. It's really big. It's actually the most important election since when Stalin took over Romania. So it's really crucial. It's huge.
They got the people all amped up.
Yeah, a lot of people are voting now. I mean, it's crucial. You have to go out and vote. And actually, maybe at the end I'll talk a little bit about this because it kind of ties into Monero and stuff. Like if you can vote, then make your informed decision and do, because those policies are going to affect your life. Because if you vote for the right people, if you do have the right people to vote with, sometimes you gotta choose the lesser evil. The policies are gonna be, hopefully more private leaning instead of, privacy trespassing. So yeah, I'll mention a little bit about it at the end, but it's crazy right now. So much going on.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of people tuning in that aren't really into the voting thing. I tend to agree with you, right? Like we got to fight wherever we can. That was my whole theory with Trump.
Yeah.
Although some people will say better to just drive things into the ground.
I don't know. It's difficult, especially if you don't have a good person to vote with. Then you don't have any incentive to go out to vote at all. But I don't know. It's still important to go, and maybe there's some candidates, some with low chances, but vote for him, or I don't know, try to promote him or something like that. It's very important. But yeah, it's crazy to me that Trump, JD Vance, and Elon Musk, and everybody's promoting a candidate that is pro-Russian, that has received funds from Russia. It's so crazy, so suspicious. But yeah, I don't know what to say anymore. Like who to trust, who to believe. So it's you have to do your homework, even if that's the thing. Like even if you have a trusted source of information and they're supporting somebody or something, still do your due diligence and do a lot of research before, especially before you vote. Even if you think that that person is trusted, because maybe they don't know that much, or they have an agenda that you didn't know, or always do your research. Always. No matter what somebody says, no matter what we say, about Monero. I mean, we think Monero is great, but still do your own research. And anyway, you're still gonna discover that it is great. You don't need to do that much research, but yeah.
At least with Monero, you could actually figure things out after researching. with politics and politicians,
it's more digging.
You never really get to the truth. You can research as much as you want. You never find the truth.
You don't, and it's a lot of digging too. With Monero, you don't have much work to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's get into the news section, guys. The first thing we're going to talk about XMR Bazaar and then XMRChat. So on XMR Bazaar, somebody posted a land for sale in Georgia, crypto-friendly subtropical haven. It looks beautiful. So let's look at a couple pictures.
Yeah, it doesn't have too many pictures on it, but he did post actually. He posted a Google link too.
Oh, that doesn't have too many pictures. But
it's an interesting area. I've heard people talking about Georgia. I've never been to Georgia. I've been to all over Eastern Europe, but I never made it that far towards, Turkey, Georgia, that area. Looks beautiful. Beautiful culture. Great food. I've been looking into it. I think it has a decent crypto scene as well, obviously. I guess that's why we're seeing land come up for sale for Monero. So super cool, right? We've had the land offers just keep getting better, right? We've had land in Formosa, Argentina put up for sale. We've had land offered in upstate New York. It was like 16 acres in Binghamton. And now we're seeing some land in Georgia. It's pretty cool.
That was a good guess. Maybe we should get Imon.
Yes,
on
I'm
the
talking
show.
to
That
him.
would be cool.
Yes, I'm DMing him. He will likely come on. Maybe we have him on next weekend. So that'll be cool. He can tell us all about Georgia, and it sounds like it's a piece of land with a house on it, or some kind of structures are on it.
So it says it's a rare opportunity to own land in the heart of Georgia. This property comes with full utility communications and is ideally located just 12 kilometers from the popular Batumi Resort and the Black Sea port. Cool. Nestled in a quiet green line area surrounded by scenic mountains, the land offers a perfect blend of peace, nature, and accessibility. It's just an 8.5-minute walk or 3-minute drive to the beautiful Black Sea beach. That's super close. The neighborhood is serene with nearby mineral springs and lush subtropical landscapes that make it a truly unique setting. Whether you're looking to build a private retreat, invest in a promising location, or secure a crypto-friendly asset, this land is a valuable opportunity. Payment is accepted in Monero, Bitcoin, and Fiat. For more details or to submit an offer, feel free to get in touch. Total area, 800 square meters of land plus 2 independent buildings on the land. A total of 195 square meters.
Yeah, I don't know what these 2 independent buildings are. So yeah, that's interesting.
So yeah, I don't know if it's like an actual
800
2 houses or.
So it's pretty big.
It's
how many? Yeah,
I'm trying to think too, like how much that is, but it sounds big, and I do like that the person offers some more details.
It's not that big.
It's not as big as the one in New York, right? That one was pretty big.
No, yeah.
That one was huge, right?
Yeah.
You could build a whole...
was like I don't know, like 400 acres or something. Although that is, I think, yeah.
You can build a whole Monero.
But I mean, this sounds like a beautiful location. Healthy living. Mineral springs and lush subtropical landscapes. I'm sure the food is really good too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say for sure, delicious food.
Have you ever been to Georgia? No. You've never been, right?
I've never been, but I do want to go to Georgia. I do want to go to Armenia for sure. They're really, really beautiful countries. And actually, just like a fun fact, so Stalin was actually born in Georgia. He's not Russian. He was born in the capital, Tbilisi. I thought that was cool
shit.
when yeah. So he's actually not Russian.
Land.
Oh, okay. Let's not. Yeah. But I do like what a person said, that some no tax on crypto gains for individuals. Now, I do have to say.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Which is huge, but like we talked about Portugal on the show before, and they had zero capital gains on crypto, which is awesome, but it can change. Like I think now Portugal has 30%, so it's really, really cool. And if it doesn't change, it's cool, but don't make that your deciding factor on this, because it could change. But it's a really beautiful location. I like that the person added that there's a low cost of living in Georgia. 2,000 months of dollars a month gets you a comfortable life, and this is cool too. So residency in 30 days with 100K investment, which I think that's the cost. Yeah, that's exactly the cost of this. So you invest in this, and then if you get the land and 30 days, then you'll have your residency. And the person did say growing crypto community with OTC desks for cash outs. So that confirmed what we were inquiring.
Pretty wild, pretty enticing, man. XMR Bazaar is gonna work, right? Like people think people aren't gonna spend. People are spending their Monero here, and as price goes up, there's those that theorize that it's gonna lead to less spending, more hodling, but it also leads to more spending, right? You're getting more for your Monero. You see more opportunities. And basically, if you're all Monero, you're forced to use it and live off of it. So,
yeah,
I do see this all working, guys. I see incentives aligning here, and XMR Bazaar growing in usage as value as the price goes up.
And it's plus, I don't know, there's a lot of websites and stuff like that, but XMR is trusted. Like you can trust it. And it's beautiful. A lot of people are using it. There's a lot of activity, a lot of posts, which is very important.
Well, actually, there's not a lot of websites now. Monero Market closed down. There's no even really a Bitcoin marketplace. What is the popular peer-to-peer Bitcoin marketplace? There is none.
It would shut down too fast because no one would use it.
Yeah.
No one wants to spend their
they
Bitcoin.
attempted in the past. They had Open Bazaar, right? And then that, I think, pivoted to trying to be Bcash. I think they are trying to rebuild it now, but there's no current popular peer-to-peer Bitcoin marketplace, right? Is there? Based on my research, there's really nothing.
They just hodl. They don't care, I think so.
Yeah, so I'm hoping XMR Bazaar can grab that market share, right? Win that network effect, even for other cryptos, right? It will always be Monero based. For the seller, will always receive Monero, but if we could make it easy for people to come and spend different, they could spend their Dogecoin, they could spend their Bitcoin Lightning, whatever, and then the seller always receives Monero. Maybe we could get traction as the place to go and live off of each other peer to peer with crypto. Monero based, because obviously those receiving crypto are going to want to receive an anonymous form of it, right? You get value out of that. They could go swap it into something else after if they want to, but there's value. It makes sense for the crypto peer-to-peer marketplace to be Monero based.
I think so too. Like it just
even if it becomes a multi-coin, even if we're accepting other cryptos, it makes sense out of pure utility for it always to settle in the seller to always receive Monero.
Yeah, it just sends the message that this is a private marketplace, anonymous based first, and then you can also spend your Bitcoin and whatever, but that's the basis. And it's a nice way to introduce people to anonymity practices, XMR. So
yeah, we got so many ideas for things we could do on here. It's just as you can imagine, you know me, I'm like an idea a second, but we got a lot of big ideas coming down the pipe. We got the bonds that will be launching soon. Boosts will be launching soon. Boosts are going to help clean things up. So boosts is anybody can boost their posts, so it goes to the top, right? Because right now, the what's new is just a hodgepodge of literally anything that's getting posted. So it's not really that helpful and useful. Once we have boost, that'll be a nice category, so people see all the posts that are legitimate, right? Because you're not going to boost a post unless you're like a legit person that you're trying to. I mean, I guess if you're a scammer, you might want to try to boost and get people's attention. But for the most part, boosts I think will weed out or bring to the top some people that want to have skin in the game, that are actually looking to come sell stuff. And boost doesn't mean that they spend millions of Monero, right? Or even a Monero. It's going to be a couple of dollars, because it's going to be you'll be competing against other people that want to boost. So that should be cool. And then the bonding is going to be tremendous, because that's going to add basically trust to the network, or the need, the need to not have to trust people. So if people are bonded, somebody's selling you something, they're selling chips, they're selling fat chips, which we'll have these guys on soon. They're waiting backstage, and I'll be tasting the fat chips. I bought these on XMR Bazaar. Yeah, sure. I took a risk when I bought them. I didn't know if he'd send the chips, but I saw he had his Twitter profile connected. They had tweets of them at marketplaces selling chips. It wasn't really much of a this is the type of due diligence you need to do. But maybe once he adds bonding, I mean, this is not a really good example, because this guy really doesn't need to be bonded, because you could see that he's a trustworthy person that's sending their stuff. But others will have the opportunity to put up a 1 XMR, 2 XMR bond, so they could be a complete noob to the website, come and sell their bicycle or whatever it is, and you'll trust that it'll be sent because you'll see that they're bonded. And a bunch of other things we're working on as well. Sorry, Tony. I'll let you take it over from here, and then I'll slip into the background, and I'll pop back up when we bring fat chips up.
Actually, just one more question, Doug. Lucifer asked, is that your Monero balance on XMR Bazaar? Doug, does a Monero wallet come with an XMR Bazaar account? So first, if you're referring to this to the top, I think, Lucifer, I think that that's just showing how much one XMR is worth right now. And on the second part, Doug, so he's asking if Monero wallet comes with an XMR Bazaar.
Yeah, no. So the beauty of XMR Bazaar is it's non-custodial. We don't hold any people's funds. No Monero's held on XMR Bazaar. There's no XMR Bazaar wallets. You use your own wallet. Use your Cake wallet or whatever Monero wallet of your choice that you're already using. And XMR Bazaar just puts buyers and sellers together. And when the transactions happened and you're buying something, you're sending it from your Cake wallet to an address that's posted on there. That's essentially going to somebody else's Monero wallet, their personal wallet, right? They posted up their Cake receive address, for example. They used that when they were selling. So there's no transactions, no Monero is going on it through XMR Bazaar. It's all peer-to-peer going to users' existing Monero wallets, right? So yeah, no.
Also, one idea. It'd be so cool if one day at the next Monerotopia or something, we would replace this banner with an actual people, and obviously we could put emojis on their faces.
I know we got to clean up. Obviously, just cleaning up the site as well. The AI background is pretty cheesy, but we just left it for now. It's just I got him focused on more important things. If anything, I think we might even eliminate the whole banner up there.
No, I think it's cool. I think if the next Monerotopia, if we actually get XMR Bazaar umbrellas over the vendors, in this case replace real life, super cool.
That would be super cool.
That's next level, yeah, for sure.
But we did have somebody reach out on X. I forget the guy's account. He's the one that's been posting all the Pepe frogs and stuff. He's doing a great job marketing Monero. He did a redesign of XMR Bazaar on his own and started posting pictures. So we might take some of his work and use that to redesign the UI.
Nice. Well, moving on. So let's talk about XMRChat a little bit. XMRChat has now more languages to pick from: Russian, Pidgin, Korean, Finnish, and Arabic. So more languages, and it already has English.
Yeah, I mean, this is super cool, right? So anybody that's using by the way, xmrbazaar.com/MoneroTalk if you guys want to send your Monero-based super chats during the show. But yeah, we've added languages, so now you can instantly see the translations of the chats that are coming in, and you can translate the XMR chat pages that you're visiting. Yeah, once again, we'll be adding similar type of feature to XMR Bazaar at some point.
So what about like if people want different languages, they can send a request to help you translate, or how would it work?
For XMR Bazaar?
For XMR chat, like if somebody says, "Hey, I speak, Romanian or whatever language."
Oh, if they want us to add that as a
Yeah.
you could. I suggest reaching out to Fiat Demise or the XMRChat Twitter. We've had various people help us out. I think people that we've even hired off of XMR Bazaar to do some of the translation. I think I see Koreans on there. I think that guy was actually hired off of XMR Bazaar to do the translations. So yeah, if you want to add your language, you don't see it up there, reach out to Fiat Demise or this XMR _chat X account and DM it.
Cool. Okay, so moving on. This is from Reddit. Somebody said, people cite difficulty in purchasing Monero as a reason its price hasn't exploded in recent years. However, how is it any more difficult to purchase than a random meme coin off of DEX? To me, the pattern seems the same. Buy USDC off of CEX, send to Cake, and buy Monero. Isn't that the same difficulty as meme coins? And Ikari commented back, both aren't necessarily difficult, but meme coins are gambling on registered casinos that attract the greedy and addicts, but Monero is actually useful as a medium of exchange, like a currency, and that's what I think as well. Like if you really want to buy it, it's not super difficult. There's a lot of volume in meme coin. All those crazy stupidest meme coins, they have a lot of volume, and people some are gambling addicts, some are obviously a lot of people are greedy. They want to make quick gains. So that's why they attract a lot of liquidity versus Monero. So yeah, both are kind of, let's say, difficult to get. Monero is not on as many centralized exchanges. A lot of meme coins are. The randomest meme coins are on Coinbase and such, but Monero isn't. So yeah, if people really want to get it, it's not super crazy difficult to get Monero, and they can. But a lot more people are starting to discover Monero, which is good. And yeah, so I'm positive about the growth long term. Then XMR B4U is back. Independent Tax 4533 posted on Reddit. After 2 years of being busy with stuff, I'm starting back up XMR B4U. XMR B4U is meant to be a place to order anything from any site with Monero, while also not giving away your identity to any site. Please message me with any questions. And this is the website. Now, I mean, I don't know what to say. I would need more information to actually trust this service. So do your own due diligence before you are using it. I mean, it's cool as a concept. If you end up not trusting it for some reason, again, do your own research. That I must say. You can also go to Kick Wallet and then use Monero to buy a Visa, and then you can use the prepaid Visa to purchase, pretty much whatever you want on your own. Because maybe you don't want to give your address and phone number over here. So I mean, do your own research. But this could be another alternative, I would say. So be careful and do your own research. Now, Haveno app cross-platform. This is cool. So this is a CCS proposal, a cross-platform Haveno application that supports Windows, macOS, Linux, iOS, Android, pretty much every operating system, and web browsers, all within the same code base. As a milestone mentioned, all basic functionality of Haveno will be supported through the app. Market statistics are not mentioned in the milestone, but can be added in a later proposal. And it's basically using as a technology the Flutter SDK, just to support the 6 different platforms uniformly. And yeah, so this is cool, and I'm definitely looking forward to having Haveno on all the platforms and it being more accessible to people. So it's exciting news. And this was a request to merge like a month ago, so it's fairly new. It's hopefully it comes to fruition soon. It's a lot of work for sure. Now, I've seen this as a Reddit post from a couple of days ago, and it's from 2022. It's from Peter Todd, and it talks about Monero and Tallow Emission being not inflationary. There's so many people saying just ridiculous stuff about the Tallow Emission, and they're still praising the 21 million supply cap that Bitcoin has. And then actually, after I read a little bit about this, we know maybe there's some new people watching. So we're going to go over it just a little bit, but then we're going to go to financemonthly.com, and they actually wrote an article about if this, what they call ghost coin, can outrun inflation in 2025. I've never seen somebody write about this that I know of. I think it's one of the first, so it's nice to see. It says at present, all notable proof of work currencies reward miners with both a block reward and transaction fees. And I do like what Peter Todd says right here. So I'm going to read most of it. So with most currencies, including Bitcoin, phasing out block rewards over time. However, in no currency have transaction fees consistently been more than 5 to 10% of the total mining reward, with the exception of Ethereum from June 2020 to August 2021. And this is very important. So to date, no proof of work currency has ever operated solely on transaction fees. And academic analysis has found that in this condition, block generation is unstable. To paraphrase Andrew Poelstra, it's a scary phase change that no other coin has gone through. And it is a scary phase that we're talking about it. So nobody has gone through mining all the coins. Bitcoin hasn't gone through all the 21 million coins and then starting to have to become reliable just on the fees. No coin has gone through that as of now. So it's going to be an interesting phase for Bitcoin. It's going to be quite a while. I think the year 2100 plus, so 100 years from now, something like that, a long time. Who knows if it's going to be around until then. But Monero has chosen something different. They chose to implement what they call a tail emission, a fixed reward, which tail emission kicked in, I think, 2022, so a couple years ago. So tail emission is a fixed reward per block that continues indefinitely, which I think it's a 0.6 XMR. Dogecoin also has a fixed reward, which they widely and incorrectly refer to as an abundant supply. And I'm not going to read, obviously, most of this. A lot of mathematics and things like that. If you want to, you can go through it. It's a good article from Peter Todd. But yeah, this article will show you that a fixed block reward does not lead into an abundant supply to infinite coins, as Bitcoiners, I have no idea, say. In fact, due to inevitability of lost coins, because people do lose coins, just like with fiat, people lose money, a fixed reward converges to a stable monetary supply that is neither inflationary nor deflationary, with the total supply proportional to rate of tail emission and probability of coin loss. So a tail emission it's an amazing implementation. It's really an amazing implementation, and Monero is known for its privacy, but it should also be known for its awesome features like tail emission, dynamic block size, random X, mining on the CPU, and not those ASICs. It's just amazing. So yeah, I highly recommend you go through this article. He goes into the mathematics, and yes. But now I want to feeds into this article from finance-monthly.com. XMR versus the dollar. Can a ghost coin, that's funny, outrun inflation in 2025? So talk about inflation, continues to influence global economics, condition 2025, rising prices, across board food, expenses, everything. And it talks about how this year the privacy coin Monero has gained attention for reasons beyond anonymity. Stakeholders now discuss its usefulness as an anti-inflationary financial protector against fiat system volatility, thanks to the tail emission. And inflation fatigue and the search for alternatives. So investors are looking. I mean, everybody's looking for a hedge against inflation, and a lot of people chose Bitcoin, but XMR has been performing so well, and over time, I think it's going to perform really, really well, and it's going to attract a lot of investors, and maybe it's going to. A lot of people like us have been attracted to XMR because of its privacy features, but perhaps in the future they're going to be attracted to its anti-inflationary or inflationary resistance properties, right? So yeah, this part talks about inflation going on, all this stuff, and how it's combining how Monero combines a finite supply, anti-inflationary mechanisms, and military-grade encryption strategies, positions Monero as exceptional in current inflationary monetary conditions. Though not well known by the general public, Monero demonstrates rising recognition based on its recent market activities. So yes, it's not just criminals using this coin. It's a lot of people. It's investors, and these criminals don't even account for the majority of transactions. They're a very, very small percentage, and we talked about this in the past. The percentage of scammers from the total of crypto users, right? Maybe I should bring that up sometime next time, just to kind of go over it again, because I really like that. Because people like to just talk about Monero or actually no, crypto as a whole, and they say, oh, it's used by criminals, and regulate the hell out of it and all this stuff, which is an excuse. But yeah, so this article talks about XMR strengths in a weakening fiat world. Can XMR outrun the inflation game? It talks about US dollar, how it's the most accepted global currency despite several problems, and how the crypto monetary system of Monero exists outside paramount exchange availability and features weak relationships with the institutions while handling business in unregulated spaces. It does at the moment feature weak relationships with institutions. Bitcoin has ETFs and all these things, so it has a stronger relationship. The US government has a Bitcoin reserve now, so how is Monero going to become more, or how it's going to have a stronger relationship with institutions? I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Perhaps it's going to happen at some point, but we shall see. But yeah, I want to sum this up by saying that it's a quiet competitor in a noisy economy, and perhaps in the near future, or some people are looking into anti-inflationary assets and they'll discover Monero, and maybe they'll put their money in that instead of S&P 500 and Bitcoin and other vehicles, and that'll be interesting, and it's definitely gonna drive the price up and the overall usage. And they can also spend it too, because Bitcoin, they just put their money, park it, and that's it. But Monero you can actually spend. Now, moving on, let's talk about the FUSD, how to add a Freedom Dollar to Cake Wallet. This is from the YouTube channel of XMRList. So let's watch this 1-minute video. And also for the people watching, like and share, subscribe, because it helps us a lot. So if you haven't, click the like, click the share button. Now let's watch this video.
Back to another XMRList video. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can set up tokens, and specifically FUSD or Freedom Dollar, into the Cake Wallet app. So it's very simple to do, and Cake Wallet already supports XANA tokens. So obviously you need to download the Cake Wallet app, set up a XANA wallet, and sync the blockchain, which can take some time. Next, you want to click this button right here, and then click this add here. And as you can see, it's going to prompt you for a couple of options here, which is very simple to get. So first of all, you're going to need to go to freedomdollar.com or the XANA Trade Dex, and you can basically find the asset ID. So you're going to click this button right here, and this will then give you the asset ID right here. So I'm going to copy that, paste in the contract address here. Then the token name is obviously Freedom Dollar. The token symbol is FUSD. And the token decimal is 4, which says right here, decimal point 4. I have confirmed and click save. And it's as simple as that. And now you can start using Freedom Dollar inside your Take One app.
Okay, there we go. Now, moving on, let's talk about, this is super big. So this is the DarkFi Testnet Alpha v0.2, which is live. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in the era of crypto, anonymity without compromise. And they provided a bit of a summary here, but let's actually, well, first like the post, and then let's go on to the link that they provided. So dark.fi/insights/testnet. And yeah, this is massive. So they wrote on the website, today we are releasing DarkFi Proof of Work Alpha Testnet. This milestone leads us one major step towards the future we have envisioned, anonymous, uncensored, and sovereign, the future we were promised but don't yet have. DarkFi has its own blockchain with fully programmable smart contracts, its own peer-to-peer network, several apps, and tooling. And we're going to talk about, so moving from proof of stake to proof of work, consistent mechanism, improved native applications and some new applications, hardening and substantial improvements to the peer-to-peer network. And then we're going to talk about a couple of things from their website, and then I strongly encourage you to take a look and read through it. So the first thing, move to proof of work. In 2023, they said we released the DarkFi POS Alpha Testnet with a modified version of the Ouroboros Crhis anonymous POS consensus algorithm. So they chose POS initially because it has finality. It means once the block is confirmed, it cannot be reversed or changed. This could be because it's deterministic and uses less resources. However, without a wide distribution of tokens, POS system can, as we know, can easily become oligarchic. The probability of winning a block was quasi-linear with the amount staked. This meant that the initial balances of validators would determine the future power structure of the blockchain. Validators who start with large token balances will continue to gain rewards, compounding their stake and influence over time. And they also said that POS requires a token pre-distribution event to bootstrap the balances of validators, which is difficult to do without compromising user anonymity, an airdrop on a transparent blockchain, or a public sale with KYC felt unacceptable to us due to anonymity trade-offs. So they said, we're not going to do POS, and they rewrote a lot of the code base and they switched to POS. And the end result enables a fully anonymous and peer-to-peer token distribution. So that's about their change from proof of stake to proof of work. It uses RandomX for decentralization, which is awesome. So you can read about that. Anonymous smart contracts. So DarkFi has also comes with several native smart contracts so that the following features are built in with the blockchain: anonymous transfer of funds, on-chain anonymous atomic swaps, arbitrary token issuance, which can also be made programmatic via an owner contract, fully anonymous on-chain DAOs with token-weighted voting. And you can read about that. Money smart contracts. Let's talk about, which the money contract allows anonymous payments and atomic swaps. Anonymous DAO smart contracts. They've created the world's first and only anonymous DAO. It's a fully on-chain anonymous DAO with token-weighted voting, where all members' votes and tokens are fully hidden and anonymous as per its specifications. Using this, you can raise an anonymous treasury on-chain and manage it via on-chain voting. So that's awesome. It's using ZK tooling and enhancements. You can read about that. Talks about security, and now it goes into native applications and other stuff. But it's huge. It's a big day, and I'm excited for this project. So I recommend you go through it and read about it if you haven't heard about this project, maybe, because it's very important. Moving on to Lola. So we talked about the DOJ versus the Roman Storm case for a couple shows now. So let's read this, let's read it first. So it says, Dear Judge Faila, the government writes to update the court regarding this case, which is scheduled for trial on July 14, 2025. After review of this case, this office and the Office of the Deputy Attorney General have determined that this prosecution is consistent with the letter and spirit of the April 7th, 2025 memorandum from Deputy Attorney General. The government determined they will not proceed to trial on Title 18 in the United States. Basically, the DOJ will not drop the charges against Roman Storm. Again, Xeno commented, not surprising, the memo was a meme. Respectfully submitted, Jake Clayton. So, again, DOJ will not drop the charges against Roman Storm. And hopefully we're going to see some positive development soon, because it's sad and insane. Then let's talk about the CoinBase hack that you guys probably heard about. And so Coinbase, as we know, maybe it's the most KYC intense platform right out there. It's asking for a lot of information: address, name, phone number, email, ID, what you ate in the morning, everything, right? And so they have a lot of information. Now Jason wrote on X, use Coinbase hack issue is KYC. The more we KYC, the more at risk the user is. And it's true. I mean, the more information you have about users, the more information you can provide to potential hackers. It's necessary to have this much information. I don't think other exchanges require this much information, especially when you want to also send the crypto you're having in Coinbase to somebody else. It also requires the address, who's the person, blah, blah, blah. Just they have a lot of information. But basically what happened is that some bad actors, some criminals, they recruited some rogue overseas support agents, and those support agents have access to of the full name, the address, phone number of. They don't have access to the full amount of information. Frank said, I will watch the replay later. Need to run. Thanks for the news update. Stopped using Coinbase a while ago. Big attack surface. Yes, for sure. I've never used Coinbase. And thank you, Frank. Thank you so much. And I'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. So basically these overseas support agents, they've been bribed by some criminals. Basically, hey, we'll give you this much and give us some information about users, about the customers. They don't have access to everything, those support agents. And again, they have access to email, address, and other still very important information, especially the address. And let's watch this almost 3-minute video of Brian Armstrong talking about the situation and what he says, and then we'll talk about it. If you guys have any input about anything, I'm watching the YouTube comments as well. So yeah, let's watch this.
Hey everyone, I want to make you aware of a disturbing email that we received recently at Coinbase. It was a ransom note demanding $20 million in Bitcoin in exchange for these attackers not releasing some information they claim to have obtained on our customers. Now, we like to do things transparently here at Coinbase, and so I'm going to respond publicly to these attackers by saying, no, we are not going to pay your ransom. In fact, I have a few next steps in mind that I'm going to share at the end of this video. But for the rest of you watching, wondering what happened, we did an investigation here, and these attackers have been approaching our overseas customer support agents, looking for a weak link, someone who would accept a bribe in exchange for sharing some customer information with them. Now, our support tools have limited access to customer information. There was no passwords or private keys or funds accessed as part of this. But customer support agents do have access to personal information like name, date of birth, address, etc. And attackers still want access to this information because it allows them to conduct social engineering attacks where they can call our customers, impersonating Coinbase customer support, and try to trick them into sending their funds to the attacker. Now, unfortunately, they were able to find a few bad apples. Our systems are designed to mitigate the impact of something like this. So less than 1% of our monthly transacting users had their records accessed, but this is still unacceptable. And I want to tell you what we're doing about it. So first, any customers that were socially engineered as a result of this incident, we're going to reimburse them. There's more details on our website, on our blog post about the reimbursement process. You can read more there. Any customers who have been impacted by this or have been notified at this point. Number two, we're hardening our systems around customer support to make something like this much more difficult in the future. And third, we're actually relocating some of our customer support operations as a result of this. But the last step is maybe the most important, which is that instead of paying
Yep, sorry guys, I don't know why it's not
this
loading.
$20 million ransom, we're turning it around. And we're putting out a $20 million award for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of these attackers. For these would-be extortionists or anyone seeking to harm Coinbase customers, know that we will prosecute you and bring you to justice. And now you have my answer.
Okay. So one thing that I guess I must say, it's good that Brian Armstrong went forward and talked about it, didn't totally dismiss it. So, that's a positive thing. Talked about it. People affected will be reimbursed. It's definitely not a good thing what happened for sure. I hope those people will get caught and prosecuted. But now, again, it begs the question, is it necessary to have so much information about your users and require so much information when you're trying to send your funds?
Yeah, I mean, this is KYC at its worst, right? It's just showing you how over-regulation is having the opposite effect. It's not protecting people, it's hurting people, right? If we were just allowed to use crypto peer-to-peer as we wish, buy it off of each other, KYC free, there wouldn't be this centralized authority with basically every crypto user's data. So many people use Coinbase, from the early. It was the easiest way to get Bitcoin for quite some time. I have a Coinbase account. I don't know if I'm one of these 1%ers. I just opened up. I rarely even use it, but I just I used to use it at some point. I just opened it up to take a look. And there's no alert there or anything saying that, my data has been leaked. But it's an epic failure, right? And so how do they really even make up for this? The data is out there now. This list is out there. So the people whose data has gotten stolen, what are they doing for them? When we say how do you even put a value on that? So now there's a major safety concern. These people have a list of, OGs that perhaps bought a lot of Bitcoin. They know their name, their birthday, right? They said address too. Address.
Yeah.
So
that's like
you just put all these people at tremendous risk. We're seeing these kidnappings and kidnapping attempts happen in Paris. And we did see the Bitcoin price shoot up a couple of weeks ago, guys. And the theory was that it was somebody who got socially engineered, an OG Coinbase user. They made it sound like it was perhaps an elderly person, I don't know, in their 70s or 80s.
Oh yeah.
And they got fooled into sending their Bitcoin off. I'm sure that was related to this hack, right?
How much was it worth?
Perhaps
it
the
was a lot of
same
money.
people that even did that hack then used the data to socially engineer this guy, or I don't know, they sold the data to somebody else who did it. Seems like it was related because it sounds like this hack happened around that time.
Yeah, because apparently they had the data since January or February is what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
So they've actually had it for a while.
Exactly. And I'm curious too, did the hackers really ask for Bitcoin or did they ask for Monero in their ransom? I don't know, man.
Not like
I
they're
feel
gonna
like
tell us
Brian-
anyway.
I feel like Brian Armstrong, is very familiar with Monero at this point. He's always been, but I feel like Monero's on his brain these days. I gotta imagine they would have asked for Monero, right? I get that the liquidity, Bitcoin, but so much risk, especially if you're trying to it's an exchange that you're trying to ransom, right? Brian Armstrong has more resources than anybody else in terms of trying to track, trace, figure out who did something, right? So if I was going to ask that guy for a ransom, I would not ask him for Bitcoin. I mean, if I have any chance of getting away with this, I'm asking for. I don't care how skilled these people are. I don't care if they're North Korean hackers, right? Like, you just have to be an idiot to get that far, succeed in stealing this data, and then ask for Bitcoin. So I have to imagine almost they asked for Monero, but who knows? Maybe.
I'm glad Coinbase is going to reimburse us. How much did they pay for an amputated finger? KYC equals kidnap your customer and kill your customer.
Yeah, we're gonna play that clip in a second, the one in Paris. But yeah, also like that guy, the guy that you mentioned, didn't he lose something like over $10 million? It was like a huge amount, wasn't it? Like 300 million. I don't know.
Yeah, it was $300 million worth of Bitcoin. It was a couple of thousand Bitcoin.
Some absurd amount.
Yeah, it was like
yeah. But I don't know. It's what hurts more, having to deal with a bunch of customer information, or not having that information, not knowing anything about those criminals that are using that medium. But in the same time, you can improve the education and the economy overall, so that we are not going to have as many criminals, and then they can also have their anonymity instead of putting all these measures in place, all these KYCs, all this stuff. And then we talked about one news episode in which we showed that now you can produce fake IDs, and then you can KYC
right.
AI. Right. So what but especially
and big picture too, right? Because for me, I've been talking about this nonstop, right? Trying to eliminate the bit license, get Monero on Coinbase. So even now, right? I'm still on that mission. I get it, but the fact is, these centralized exchanges do exist. This is where noobs go to get crypto. And if you really zoom out, the absurdity of this, right? So all these regulations in place, all it's doing is hurting people. It's put all these people that view Coinbase at risk, at high risk, at security risk. So they've done the opposite of protect people. And at the end of the day, what has Coinbase done? It hurts people, and it gives people an easy way to buy shit coins, but they've kept people away from Monero, right? And Monero is the one crypto that perhaps would even give you a little bit more security in this situation, right? Obviously, it's not perfect either, but it would at least add a little bit of security for people that might try to come and socially engineer, hack you, whatever, and they have your information. It's a little, maybe they're tracing your Bitcoin transactions. They know you have X amount of Bitcoin. They can see you have the Bitcoin. So end result is Coinbase is hurting the people, not providing true cryptos like Monero, and giving people an easy way to on-ramp onto shitcoins. Obviously, Bitcoin's not a shitcoin, but there's plenty of other shitcoins on Coinbase. I think Trump Coin is on Coinbase, right? Trump Coin was more available to the world within 4 minutes of existence than Monero is available to people right now, and that is absurd. And Brian Armstrong, he could change that overnight. He could list Monero, but he doesn't. So he's done all the opposites of trying to live up to the ideals of this space. And I'm just hoping maybe it helps us move closer to getting them to eliminate the bit license, because it just shows the absurdity of everything and how all these regulations are bullshit anyway.
I just wonder if he had a little hesitation of saying, and we will not pay the ransom of 2,000 Monero. 20,000 Monero.
I'm telling you, the guy asked for Monero. It's killing him right now.
At this time, 2025, guys, if you're going to do this stuff, I'm not encouraging criminal activity on Monero, but just, be smart.
He'll have to list Monero to have enough Monero to pay the ransom. Oh my God. Dude, how much more news do we have? Because I see Fat Chips is raring to go over here. I don't want to make him wait too long. He's got to get out there and sell some chips.
Probably 5. I'll try to make it 5 minutes.
Something all right, like yeah. Let's do it.
Just one thing from YouTube voluntarism. On the Coinbase app, I cannot find anywhere to transfer my crypto to my wallet. I can find it on desktop. Are they trying to stop people withdrawing to their wallet? Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. But yeah, let's talk about a little bit Monero nodes. Past 24 hours, 14,568. Chain since last week, plus 2,000 new nodes, plus 14 increase. Props to Tari. 1 day after launch, there are already almost as many Tari full nodes on the network as Monero. So Monero nodes past 24 hours, 12,560, and Tari nodes 11,300. So that's awesome. Tari desktop wallet is a full node with one-click mining. This means every user runs a full node and 100% of the hash rate is decentralized through peer-to-peer pool. Also, a XMR wallet is automatically created for every user, which automatically mines XMR alongside Tari. So that's awesome. Now, we talked about the Paris, what happened in Paris. So we're going to play this clip. So this is the daughter of a cryptocurrency company executive narrowly escaped a kidnapping attempt this morning in the heart of Paris. In plain day too.
La police, oui, tu appelles le 17. Le 17, oui. Le 17, oui. Le 17.
Props to that guy, the guy in black. This guy just stood there and did absolutely nothing. So props to that guy actually doing something about it. Which, I mean, they probably were scared because they have guns, but I don't think they have access to guns. But yeah, props to that guy. I just want to say.
Wild.
Yeah, that was it.
It's crazy that we're seeing multiple episodes of this happening in France, right?
Mm-hmm.
Privacy is security, guys. I mean, you know, it's obviously it's not perfect, but it does add some more security. But
it's just so scary. I mean, if you have like big amounts of crypto, big enough that somebody wants to steal it from you, just your privacy is so important. Props to guy in the black hero, real hero. If it wasn't for him, should be kidnapped. Right? That's what I'm saying. Like. These people were just doing nothing. They were just watching, probably recording or something. But in the same time, I guess, I don't know, they may have guns. So, but in the same time, there's a couple people there. So talk within each other. Just say, okay, we're going to go and do something. It's not just two people. It's quite a few. But I'm glad she's okay.
That's just happened. A culture problem, right? Everybody, nobody
don't
helps
pull your
anymore.
Phone out.
And when you do help, you get accused of a crime. It was what we saw here in New York City. I won't go into that whole case, but the guy in the subway that jumped in and helped people that were getting attacked, threatened by somebody, and now he ended up having to go to court and prove his innocence, which is fucking ridiculous.
Jesus,
because he did a good job in preventing the attack and killed the guy as he did it. Yeah, that's a whole nother issue.
I think just briefly, there was one case in Romania where one woman was attacked on the street and it was at night, but because she was so loud, she became the issue because she was disturbing the peace or something. It was so stupid. That was so stupid. I don't have any follow up on that, but whatever.
Scary.
Scary. Yep. This one actually didn't get to go too deep into it.
Yeah, we don't need to go through that whole thing. If people want to check it out, but basically saying they studied like different exchanges, methods of exchanging, swapping from like Bitcoin into Monero or whatever, or vice versa, and how your privacy may be affected. So most interesting is they looked at Haveno. I don't know. Tux, if anybody, I think Shortwave took a good look at this. If he wants to jump up on Viewers on Stage and tell us about it, but basically saying, it's not a perfect system when you're using Haveno, right? I mean, all kind of, I think, obvious things in my mind, but I think they did make some recommendations of things that could be fixed to better improve people's ability to anonymously use a system like Haveno to go in and out of Monero to Bitcoin and vice versa. So. Worth taking a look at. I'm not going to get into the technicals just because, I haven't read too. I did it quick. I just read the conclusion. If you want to scan down to the conclusion.
Yeah, I saw the conclusion stuff, but I don't. If somebody has deeper knowledge of every exchange,
we could go into it on Viewers on Stage. We could go into it. We could bring up Shortwave. I think he took a good look at it.
Actually, we're focused on. Key takeaways. Okay. Don't assume DEX equals private. Even Tor-based Monero exchanges have quirks that can expose you if you're not careful, especially in cross-chain swaps. For devs, focus on hardening trade protocols, minimizing trust in arbitrators, and improving UX without sacrificing security. Zero knowledge tech may help. And 7, this paper is a must-read for anyone building or using Monero dexes. We're still in early days, and privacy is a moving target. The person provides a full link to the paper, and basically the title of the paper is Monero's Decentralized Peer-to-Peer Exchanges, Functionality, Adoption, and Privacy Risks. That's nice. It's actually a very important topic, so that's cool.
Yeah, very important for sure. We'll take a look at it too from XMR Bazaar's point of view, but obviously XMR Bazaar is not claiming to be some perfectly decentralized system that, but there are certainly things to learn and gather from that.
Now I want to talk about this. So Anhdres asked to be funded to go to MoneroCon, and in 2 hours he was fully funded. And now it's time to, as he said, book, write, and rehearse. So you're gonna see Anhdres at MoneroCon this year, which is awesome. It's also so nice to see the community whenever there's a proposal or something, it funds so fast. Always.
Andreas was a huge help this year at Monerotopia too. Not just a speaker, he basically ran the Spanish portion of the conference with the Escuela Bitcoin, and they did a fantastic job. And then after the conference, for months after, he was getting hit up by journalists because we did a PR thing down there, and he got interviewed by a bunch of different media outlets and got the word out about Monero in Mexico City. So, yeah, tremendous thank you to Andres.
Yeah, he's super cool. So again, if you want to follow him on X, what he does, that's his handle right there, Anhdres. And 2 hours, wow, we're such a cool community. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now let's mention this briefly. Dries Van Langenhove, I think that's how you say his name. He is, from what I briefly know, he's a national activist from Flanders, Belgium, sent to jail for memes in a private chat group. And this Friday, he said they may send me to prison for years, so this video is my last chance. They're trying to destroy me, but with your help, we will destroy them. And you can donate to him in Bitcoin and Monero. Should I play a bit of the video, Doug, or should I just go? I have 3 more stuff, I think, and that's it.
Honestly, I don't know much about this guy. I think he's kind of a extreme right winger out of Europe. Interesting that he is using Monero essentially to raise funds. He sees the value in Monero. He understands that it's a tool, whether or not you agree with this man's views. But here's somebody in need who's being censored, who's being deplatformed, who's being debanked. And where does he arrive at? What tool is he arriving at as a tool to use when you're in such a circumstance, no matter what your views may be? Monero.
That is notable that a politician, I guess, has a Monero address for raising money. It's interesting.
Yep.
How long is this video? Yeah, I guess you don't need to play that.
3 minutes and a half. But I think he probably he summarized it here, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, I think Doug put it beautifully. Whether you agree with this guy or not, people are starting to recognize Monero and use Monero. So more adoption.
Oh, I actually think I heard about this guy. They're trying to put him in jail for saying something.
I think it was like posting memes and shit. He got associated with memes that were getting some extreme right wing stuff that were getting, and he's basically going to jail for memes. I could be wrong, but I think it might be that absurd.
I could be wrong too, but I don't know much. Now, if you want to watch this video, it's 12 minutes. Now he tests some takes on Monero, some stuff that you may disagree with, some stuff that you may agree with. His video is Shadow Atlas on YouTube. And the community has been watching it. And again, some people said they agree with some stuff, some don't. So I encourage you to watch it if you want.
Yeah, we don't need to play it. Obviously, we all know Monero here, but nice to see that every day we're seeing more and more different groups of people talking about Monero. I popped into Spaces last night. The guy David Gogenstein or whatever, I don't know. He's got a huge following on Twitter. He's always talking about meme coins and stuff. And He had other people running his show yesterday, and they were doing a whole segment talking about the traceability of Bitcoin. It was like a show kind of based like about different conspiracy theories, and they spent like an hour talking about like who may have truly invented Bitcoin. Is it invented just to be this surveillance tool? And everybody was like in shock in response to it, like they're hearing it for the first time, and it was like very controversial for them to be talking about it. They were saying like, oh, I don't know if we should be having this conversation right now out on. And then eventually somebody mentioned Monero, but super cool to see like these crypto normies, right? The people that really don't know Monero at all are just in it for the pumps, whatever the meme coin may be that week, are now getting exposed to this information and realizing what Bitcoin is, and seeing and learning that Monero is what Bitcoin was meant to be.
Yep. Now, I want to mention this from Fluffypony. So he wrote on X, if you're mining Monero on supportxmr.com, they are merge mining Tari without you knowing or being rewarded. I strongly suggest you stop or demand you get the Tari from them. A specific example that he has given here for anyone that wants to validate this is Monero block, this block. And then, yeah, so he provided the validation for what he's saying too. And right now, there are no Monero mining pools that allow you to merge mine Tari. There are several that are working on it, but you don't serve to have the extra words for your hard-won hash rate solved by a greedy pool operator. So pay attention to that. If you're mining Monero on supportxmr.com, it's an interesting post. And the last thing, just briefly, just a couple seconds. A couple countries have their election, Romania, Poland, and other ones. Try to choose the lesser evil, because whoever you choose is going to influence your country. I mean, nowadays we have the rise of extremists in Europe, and if you vote with that, it's going to be a totally different direction of your country than what it could be or should be. So, hopefully in your country you have somebody that not a lesser evil, but somebody that you would actually want to run for president in your country. And it's important because those people would, hopefully enact laws that would be more just better in all aspects of privacy and everything, and it's going to affect your life. So again, if you can, vote in whatever country you are, and we'll see what's going to happen with our election too. But yeah, that was this news week section, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Like and share, subscribe, helps us a lot, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, guys.
I do see there's a super chat. Mia River tip, 20 cents. After today's meditation, I realized a quote, there is no hunger that does not lead to plenty. Will it be a must to have mixed an XMR block before leaving this life of suffering forever? Nirvana. Also, does flat Earth imply there is no end of time? All for Alaska. Alaska, you can respond to this XMR chat after we have our special guests. We could spend a good hour on that one. I don't know. That's pretty deep stuff. All right, let's bring up our special guest. He's raring to go. I'm raring to try these chips. I actually cooked up a meal during the news that I've been eating. Didn't want to start my day with chips. Although, with fat chips, I don't know. Nice little dose of fat. Not the worst way to start the day. All right, let's kick it off. Let's get it going. Tux, let's run the special guest intro and get them up.
The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
All right, Fat Chips Crhis, what's going on, man?
What's happening, guys? I'm just recovering from that super chat, just mind blown here. So
Lots to ponder and think about.
yeah, it's a deep one. Goes deep.
This show always goes very deep, very deep.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, no, I'm loving the chips, man. I'm loving everything about this. I'm You know, legit non-seed oil. Going back to the fats. We're seeing a trend there, right? Things getting cooked in tallow. And for whatever reason, that seems to align with like based crypto users as well. I don't know what that's all about. How did you become this guy? How did you become the base chips Monero guy?
Yeah, the Venn diagram of nerdy XMR guys and chips is a circle. So anyway, very cool to see people responding positively. Yeah, so I was in finance for years. And found out about Monero back in like 2017, 20. When did Ross Ulbricht get sentenced? What year was that?
That was even earlier. I think that might have been like 2015 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I'm dating myself a little bit, but in college I heard about Bitcoin, and then when that happened, that was the kind of the whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here with Bitcoin? It's not what it's cracked up to be. And then shortly thereafter, I guess Monero launched in like 2017. That's when I kind of it got on my radar. And then totally unrelated to that, obviously, there's a trend, as you mentioned, toward eating what are more traditional foods and foods that are minimally processed, foods that are made with, if you look at the processes that go into just the basic snacks we're eating, it's like, a list of ingredients on the back of the package.
Like they're intentionally going out of their way to poison people, right?
Yeah, dude. That's
it's at the point where it's like you could be more competitive even and make more money. Right. I feel like if you offer the real alternative.
Well, totally. Yeah, there's a race to the bottom from a price perspective, but it's got to be, cheaper just to do the real thing at a certain point. And I totally agree. So my business partner, Eric, and I were at a social function party literally a year ago tomorrow. So this is our 1-year anniversary of the genesis of the idea for Fat Chips. And we were looking at the snacks that they had on offer. And we were just like, dude, I'm not eating any of this crap. And we started talking. We said, wouldn't it be great if there were alternatives? And lo and behold, we started cooking up independently. And, as you'll hopefully agree shortly, it's just a much higher quality flavor. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to make a delicious snack. Like nobody's going to eat, even if I don't think kale chips are good for you, but if they were, nobody's going to eat them because they taste like, cow patties. Right. So that's the genesis of Fat Chips.
I'm going to start to open these.
Here's the ASMR.
I am eating right now. I'm eating some pasture raised eggs with grass fed beef.
Very
some
nice.
Avocado, some feta.
Yeah, that's I eat.
Fat Chips is gonna go perfectly with this. I can tell already.
It's the meat and potatoes right there, brother. So, very cool. Very cool.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Our goal is opening. And we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what you have to say. I'm nervous now.
Oh yeah, that's real potato right there.
It is. It is.
Okay. There's a chip, guys.
There she is. Beautiful.
Amazing crunches. I'm sure you guys can all hear.
Yep. I'm feeling very vindicated so far. I'm waiting for the.
It's that hand is automatically going back down for more.
Let's go. Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here. If you do think it's hard to not make a chip taste amazing if you're just using good potatoes.
Yeah.
And actually tallow, right? And some salt.
I totally agree. The counterpoint to that is that there are a couple of competitors that we have, and I think we're better, and I'm totally biased, but they've managed to squeeze, in some cases, not all cases, but a bland, unappealing kind of product out of what is essentially pure gold. So, I don't know what they're doing wrong, but
I think what's impressive about you guys are very crispy, which I think that's hard to do, right? Because
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have any, my background is in finance and I just learned how to cook. We've done, the big focus for us was on the product, right? Like I said, from the beginning, it's like, we want to make the most delicious potato chips on the planet. And we want to use the best quality ingredients to do that. And that just happens to be sort of the same thing, but it's tough. It's tough to screw up until you're doing it in bulk, until you're trying to do it at scale, which is what we're doing now. And that focus on the product is huge.
By the way, this is like the one thing that Sunita has cared about since since the beginning of Monero and things I've been working on. She saw I ordered these. She's like, you better not eat all the fat chips. She's not around this weekend.
Well, there's plenty online, of course, so people should check it out. And one thing
we'll order some fresh packs for her to.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Just, obviously the product is a much higher quality snack food. People are going to be snacking anyway, but when you're, shoveling in, flaming hot Cheetos, try our gnarlapenos instead and eat a much better, more satiating food as well. But from the XMR side, so I think it was Fiat Demise on X who reached out to me, and I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of Monero. Yeah, there's the gnarlapenos. There you go. And so shout out to him, shout out to the maker 1172 and everybody who's been so welcoming and encouraging to get involved with the project. And as I said, I'd heard of Monero. I wasn't, as active in the space. But I was like, oh yeah, of course, that's like the real Bitcoin, right? What Bitcoin should be. Awesome. And so I was like, yeah, we'd love to sell on XMR Bazaar. Got signed up, and we've have a few orders on there. But my emphasis with this is, what's the value out of Monero as a product and as a currency? It's transactional. It's the limit of transactional friction. And that's what's so great about XMR Bazaar. You have to use it, guys. Like, you have to use it. If you just, hodl your meme coins and you think of Monero that way, you're ultimately eroding the value. And there's this prisoner's dilemma problem, right? Where it's like, yeah, you guys should go spend your Monero while I hoard it. And it's like, don't play the short game, guys. The long game is transactions. And as a guy selling,
and the value of the network will go up, and the unit, that the crypto itself will go up as we use it more. That's how it's going to grow in value.
Correct.
And what I do think that makes Monero unique is that there actually is a reason to use it at any point in time, and then to not just wait for price to go up, because you do get value out of using something where nobody could see that you're using it, right?
Correct. Well, when I sell at the farmer's market, we do a lot of cash transactions. We offer,
right. If somebody's like holds up a credit card and be like, would you rather get me paying credit card or give you $20? You're going to take the cash, right?
Exactly. And the other part about that is the KYC stuff, the know your customer stuff. I don't know any of these people, and I don't need to know these people. They're good people. They've got cash. If they've, done something illicit in their past, it doesn't matter, because the cash they're giving me is fungible. And, when you looked at, that was the Ross thing. Once I kind of realized that this, Bitcoin is not fungible, I was like, whoa. Why don't I just broadcast my Excel spreadsheet of every transaction I've ever done in my life?
You had that realization back in the Ross days when that
was the moment. And as I said, I went to UCSD here in San Diego. Shout out, go Tritons. I was interested in it. We were mining Bitcoin very early on. And I remember that happening and being like, whoa, they just audited the blockchain and took this guy down and just stuck him under the jail. They gave him 2 life sentences in 40 years or something just heinous, just to make an example of him. And, again, I'm a legitimate businessman. You're eating my legitimate chips right now. I pay my taxes. I believe that ultimately, adhering to the law is what we should do, and we should work to change the laws if that's the way if the laws need changing, let's say, which in many cases I think they do. But we've only got 20 minutes here, so how long should we go? But again, the point is, when you don't have freedom in your currency and you don't have that fungibility in your currency, you don't have an economy that you can rely on to give you goods and services, and to have that trust even between individuals. It gets eroded by this third party kind of overseer. So we have bought into the
like
program.
You said, we need money to be fungible, right? Like when somebody's paying you for the fat chips and takes out a 20, you're not asking, well, where did that 20 come from? How do I know you didn't steal this from somebody else?
Right.
You can't even, right? It's illegal essentially to right? Like it's just generally known that cash is accepted. It doesn't come with a transactional history.
Exactly.
We need that.
It would
in digital
be
form.
impractical, impossible, and ultimately would erode the value of those tokens, because they'd be dollars as tokens, because they'd be traceable, et cetera, et cetera. So
I am now trying the jalapeno.
All right. It's gonna come on. You got to stay with it.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Delicious. I probably like these better than the salted ones, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because of them.
Well, the salted ones, you figure, I mean, like, I don't know you guys, but I'll typically be dipping like my plain chips. Like, if you're buying like our, obvious competitors like Lay's plain or like Ruffles or whatever, right? So if you're buying those, you're probably dipping them in some onion dip or some other kind of salsas, that kind of stuff. But yeah, the gnarlapeno is just the standalone, get a little spice action, pair it with the sandwich, that kind of stuff. So,
dude, I love that you found your way to XMR Bazaar. That's such a good sign, right? that we're attracting quality people like you.
Thank you.
That get it, that are working on quality products for the right reasons, right?
Yeah. Well, I would just encourage
healthy food.
Other people, small business owners. First of all, just generally start a business. Like if you're listening to this, just even if you're not, whatever you're gonna do, find a way to start a business as a side hustle. Find a product, look around at a product. You're like, I could do better with that. We live in the greatest, economic system that's ever been devised. That obviously, I think we all would agree needs revisions. But at the end of the day, people adding value to the economy through their labor, through their focused efforts is what makes the whole thing go. Monero can be the lubricant for that process, which I think we want it to be. Again, I would just encourage entrepreneurship and getting out there and bringing your value to the market.
Wow, I'm really feeling the jalapeno right now. Actually, it builds quite a bit.
I saw it when you had a couple more. I was like, he's about to feel it.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
And you guys are in an undisclosed bunker in the Northeast, presumably, right?
Yes, that is
so correct. You guys don't have the same. I'm from New England originally, but I'm here in the Southwest, obviously in San Diego, and you may not have the same built-up tolerances to that jalapeno. So just pay.
Yeah, no. I get plenty of that in my life. I'm married to a Puerto Rican Indian. So.
Dude, yeah, that's like the double whammy right there.
Yeah,
so very nice.
She's all about the spice. She's gonna be all about those jalapeno ones.
Love it.
I'm telling you
very
right
good.
now.
Very good.
Yeah, man. And what's nice about XMR Bazaar too, that does seem to be the real product market fit is products like these, right? That like handcrafted, high quality things where it makes sense to buy it directly from somebody who's putting like the handmade soaps I made, best soap I ever used, right? It's also made with tallow, right? So it's like the Parmesan cheese I'm buying is coming straight from like small farms where the guy who's selling it is just like super into Parmesan cheese, is like sourcing from the best farms, and like so there's like we're getting value out of the peer-to-peer thing. Like there is advantages to going peer-to-peer in addition to your transaction not being traceable and nobody knowing that you entered into commerce but you and just the other guy. There's just also added value in that you're dealing with people that are trying to sell like quality products, right?
Right. And the untraceability to me is like that should just be the baseline. I mean, I don't even really consider that like that's just like we've lost sight of that as being so important as like an underpinning for the economy. But free people doing commerce and business together has been what we've been doing for thousands of years, and that's what Monero is bringing back. But you're 100% correct. These small artisans, people listening, I know for sure that people listening create things, are technically inclined, have cool skills, can make a product, could, if they can't now, could learn relatively quickly, with their focused efforts, how to build a product that people would find value in. And if you like it, you're a sample of one, of course, but there's probably some other guy who's like, hey, that's pretty cool. And that's what happened with fat chips. We started cooking them, and you never know until you get that first sale, right? I'm like, I like them, but let's see. And then when people were like, holy shit, this is friggin' great. And, you'd see people's faces light up, even like I saw yours. I know you got the glasses on, but I know you're digging them, and you can't fake that. And that's real value. That's what that's what value is. And that's what the economy is supposed to do, is exchange value. And we have to just remind ourselves of that and bring that value to the economy.
100%, brother. 100%.
Love it.
So do you guys accept other cryptos on the website? You could buy fat chips through the website.
Are there other cryptos?
Nice.
You mean like
Nice.
USD? I've heard about this USD coin.
XRP, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, XRM.
So, but
no.
are you accepting Monero on the website for it? I don't even know.
Not directly. We have a link on the website. Then it's
To the XMR
bold. You'll see. Yeah, it just says buy. You know, if you go to the website, it's right at the bottom in the footer. I got a huge thing that says a big Monero logo, and the website's like a half a page long to say it's a link right to XMR Bazaar.
Let me bring it up. I'll bring it up right now.
Where we've got our listings. Yeah.
Boom. Fat chips. There it is.
And if people want to do, hey, there it is. And if people, scroll down a little bit. And if people, and it's on every page, of course, the footer. There's the Insta. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful.
Let's go. And if you guys want to, do, and we've got some
very well
reviews.
designed. I love the marketing too, man. The design, the simplicity of everything.
Thank you.
It's very classic, vintage looking.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, it's that blend of like 50s. We're entering a golden age here, ladies and gentlemen, and we just got to buy into it. So let's enjoy and let's be free and enjoy some delicious.
A potato chip is a simple thing at the end of the day, right? It's a simple, beautiful thing.
What it takes,
a good quality potato and some quality freaking tallow.
And I've heard that the Gnarlapeños especially pair very well with a nice cold frosty beer. So that's just a rumor, but I don't know. People want to try that out.
Is that what you're getting into next? Some home brewed?
No, it's so I live in San Diego, and as people may know, we have a pretty vibrant, craft beer culture and this kind of stuff. And I've actually been happy that I kind of dodged that bullet and I went into something that is honestly that I like better, because the problem is like I eat these all the time and they're actually relatively healthy. I mean, we're still a snack food. I'm not going to, pretend like we're, going to save the world with potato chips and solve, the diabetes crisis. But it's a step in the right direction. If you're going to snack anyway, you might as well snack.
I would consider them, for my purposes, like a healthy addition to what I'm eating for lunch or whatever. Right? You get a nice potatoes, in my, a lot of minerals, a lot of vitamins.
Agreed.
And a lot of good starch, and if you're working out, these good way to carb up. And you get some,
and it's the healthiest.
Fats,
It's the healthiest fat too, and it's not. The other part about it is, which there's a lot of debate about what types of oils to eat. The bottom line is, when you fry with canola oil or other seed oils, it's going rancid. That's it. That's the bottom line. It's rancid, and we cook at about 310 degrees. And beef tallow is much more stable at temperature. It's not going rancid. And that's what's keeping that delicious crunch. You're not getting that rancidity kind of flavor. I'm telling you, that's why they over season their stuff, because it's basically rancid otherwise on your palate.
You know what I do eat every day, actually? Sweet potatoes. Any thought into
we have
creating a sweet potato fry?
We've gotten some requests. Yeah, we will chalk that up into the next column. We love the idea of sweet potatoes. We have experimented with it, so stay tuned. The best thing you can do is buy more of our current products so that we can have the money to fund more products. That's all I'm saying. So
fair. Maybe we buy a couple of bags, I don't know, a dozen or so, bring them to PorkFest.
We'd love to. No, we talked to, I think somebody reached out about that. But if you guys,
I think Aaron Day, I think tweeted. He's the one that's helping me run the tent at PorkFest. We're doing that together. So cool. I think he's the one that saw you post, and he mentioned coming to getting chips at PorkFest.
Love it. Yeah, we just shipped. We've gotten a couple of decent sized wholesale orders recently that we're filling. Really? We got one for 136 bags on Monday, which is fantastic. So we could fill bulk orders if you guys wanted to do a larger order. We'll do wholesale pricing once you get over a certain amount. So just as I said, I'm happy to set that up. And you guys want to, whatever you guys want to do. I mean, we're game.
It's awesome.
Fantastic.
Can't wait to. Unfortunately, I can't join Doug in the ASMR taste tests, but I know I'll probably get mine this week. So
yeah, and whatever flavors you guys want to recommend too, reach out to us on X. It's at Eat Fat Chips. We're on Insta. We're on. It's so funny too, the response, because like you were saying, there is a little bit of a trend, Doug. Like for sure, it's people are waking up to the systematic poisoning that's happening in the food supply, to put it mildly. But it's a slow. We're still so early, which is so cool. We just see people who still are like, oh, what even is tallow? They're like, is that some kind of a root? And I'm like, no, it's actually rendered beef fat, the literal opposite of a root. But really, that's why we're leading with flavor. You can be a health food brand, and there's 10,000 versions of health food, right? So while you think it's more healthy, I think it's more healthy. At the end of the day, it's just a more delicious potato chip. So let's start there and see what we can get people on board with.
How has XMR Bazaar been treating you?
We've done a few transactions. We're still super early. They've been about, I'd say it's about 20% of our transactions over the last. I'm just trying to think back. We did a pretty decent push at the beginning of May. We're selling on wholesale channels, and we're super dinky. I mean, this is, I got a mortgage and 3 kids. This is not paying my bills, believe me. It's a labor of love at this point. But yeah, we love the response from the community. Again, I believe that if you want Monero to succeed, you should turn Monero holding into Monero transactions. And we want to buy from suppliers, by the way. If you we've spoken to a couple people who are looking at rendering beef fat for us. We can buy tallow from them in Monero. We want to buy inputs.
There you go.
If you've got potatoes, we'll buy them. Like, hit us up. So
fantastic. Yes,
this guy ain't fucking around. He wants to actually have the Monero circular economy.
I love it, man. I love it. We found the right guy. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing, dude. So if like Fiat Demise hadn't reached out to you, do you think were you looking to accept Monero anyway? I mean, you sound like pretty Monero based.
I was not specifically at the time. This would have been like, I want to say, this was pre-sales. So we just kind of did a little, like, set up the socials, do a little post like, hey, coming soon, blah, blah, blah. So he must have reached out to me in like September, October last year, I want to say. And I was like, oh yeah. And at the time, I just had a new baby in last October. And so, and I've got, I've got a job and I've got, other things. And no offense to the crypto nerds, Doug included, but like, I love that you guys are doing this as a big focus of your time, but I just didn't have that, it wasn't what I was doing. And I just kind of rekindled the flame, and I was like, oh, wow, this is really, becoming what it should have been. And I had heard about it, et cetera. So no, I probably would not have sought it out. Like I said, we're focused more on going back to my previous point. It's like, I want to bring value, and then the means of that transactional, sort of that value exchange is where Monero comes in. But the same thing going, like, if we just hold, what happened with Bitcoin and what's happening with Bitcoin, and why is the project, in my opinion, doomed, for lack of a better term? It's because it never found a way to be transactional. They've focused on this store of value and blah, blah, blah. And even, the open ledger and all this kind of stuff, and the lack of fungibility, all of that stuff is like, those are just damning problems in and of themselves. But the real problem is that people don't buy it and sell with it. Snake Shack just offered it, and you have to calculate your realized gains on buying a burger. It's like, bro, I'm just not going to do that. So
Vic agrees with you. I am, in fact, a crypto nerd, 100%. I think it's pretty. I'm a digital cash nerd.
Okay, I
prefer Anarchist, but whatever.
I just want to point out
when you're getting pedantic.
It sounds cooler, but I'm really just a nerd.
Actually,
dude, what was it? Oh, did you hook up the messaging system on XMR Bazaar? Did you hook up like your Signal or whatever?
No, I'm just working right on the platform.
You should do that. It's super simple to do. If you use Signal or SimpleX session as well. But if anything, I assume you have Signal. Almost everybody has Signal at this point.
Yeah.
In like a few clicks of a button, it will hook it up so that anytime you get a notification, so if somebody's DMing you or if they just placed an order, this way, obviously, you're not sitting on XMR Bazaar, so it'll remind you, like, notification.
Hey, man, what if I am? What if I am?
If you are, then by all means, you're a power user.
My kids are so skinny.
And we'll be adding boost soon. So if you want, you could boost your listing, and I don't think it'll be much, like $1 or $2, and it will get you to the top of you'll stay up on the top of the page.
Yeah, we love what you're doing with the platform. It's a very cool. It's basically much needed. I mean, it's essentially the way I've described it to some people has been kind of the Craigslist for Monero. Right. Exactly.
And it needs work. We're figuring things out as we go. Right now, my focus is just like getting people in, right? Like we jumped out of the plane and now we're building the parachute as we go down. So
I love that analogy.
Making it easier to filter. Yeah. Building the Monero economy as we propel to the ground.
It's much needed. And again, like I said, like the focus on transactionality. Like it's great. Like I was listening to the podcast earlier. It's great to see the charting analysis and, relative values between, Bitcoin and gold and et cetera. And like, that's all like fun nerd stuff. But at the end of the day, that's one of the big problems. This is my own philosophical bent, but one of the big problems that happened with the global economy and the American economy in particular was this hyper financialization of everything, right? And this over focus on line go up economics. And if you lose sight of what is the purpose of an economy, the purpose of an economy is to facilitate human beings thriving. Okay. If you do not transact, you do not increase the thriving of the humanity, the project of humanity. And so again, I'm just going to proselytize that. Go on Monero, on XMR Bazaar, sell your stuff that's sitting around, make new things, buy them, sell them, buy my chips, tell your friends to sell me their potatoes and their, other inputs, etc. I mean, that's how you actually build value and wealth. And as I said, this line go up, GDP, blah, blah, blah stuff. That's the boomer paradigm, and we're leaving that, everybody. That's gone. So don't get too focused on that and go back to building and adding value.
And at the end of the day, that's pretty boring, right? If you're sitting around looking at a chart, being like, oh, did it go up today? It's going to go up, and imagining the day it does go up or whatever crypto you're on. I mean, that's a pretty lame existence. Like participate, add value, build things, sell stuff for crypto, sell services for crypto. That's the fun part of life, not watching a chart, hoping things go up and, you one day can cash out. I mean, that's like, you might as well just be like hanging out and buying lottery tickets.
Dude, I wash potatoes and fry them. I mean, literally, like that's what I do. That's fun. That's engaged. I'm refining the product. I'm seeing people respond to the product. Yeah, I didn't go to college for this. I had another career where I sat in front of the computer and I was like, fuck that. I'm done with that nonsense. I like it. It's great. There's a lot of reasons to be in front of the computer, but if that's the focus of your existence, it's nothing like an existence. So especially to the younger people, I'm, just south of 40, but, especially in the context of this beautiful change we're seeing in this kind of collective realization that the older ways, the oldest ways should probably come back, and these more modern ways have failed us in systematic ways. Be a part of that change. Engage with value creation, and you can do it. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some work. But what else are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like sit on the couch all the time? Like come on. Let's get going.
Vic is continuing to point out how much of a nerd I am. Doug is a civil engineer. This is true. Professional engineer, PE.
There you go.
Also a patent attorney, guys. I don't really talk. I don't file patents, but I am technically
Doug's
a patent attorney.
technically a patent troll.
No, I don't patent troll.
I do want to point out the emphasis on an excitement that Monero users have when they can buy a new product with Monero versus recently I just saw Steak and Shake start accepting Lightning in their stores. And I saw tons of people saying, oh, don't fall for that. Don't spend your sats for a burger. I'm like, do we just like lose the point? Like, what's the fucking point if you're not even going to use this thing?
That's exactly right, dude. It's the tail wagging the dog.
I mean,
literally like, hold the money so you can spend it at some potential future date when you're dead? Like, no, buy a burger, buy potato chips, buy, do commerce. That's what we're here to do.
Vic is saying he will be ordering when he leaves the gym. So Vic is basically looking to break even. He's working out and then eating potato chips thereafter. He's breaking even. No better way to re-up on the cows than with some healthy potato chips. If there was a healthy potato chip, I think this would be it, right? Just
This
real.
is the
real
one. Well, you're
stuff.
gonna snack. You know, people are gonna have cheat days. You're not gonna just eat, you know, whatever chicken and rice every day for your entire life. Live a little.
You know, and this hodl mentality, right? That is the big difference between Bitcoin and Monero, right? It's the culture at the end of the day, this willingness to use it as a tool, right, for purposes of transacting. And it's just a difference in thing. Like, it takes a certain mindset to see value in that, I guess, and to not just see, to not be fiat minded, right? At the end of the day, that's being fiat minded if you're just constantly measuring your crypto in fiat terms and whether or not it's going up against the dollar and you're just looking to hold it. You see Bitcoiners basically complaining, well, okay, if capital gains tax didn't exist, then maybe we'd start spending it. And I agree, that certainly would help. There'd be a hell of a lot more spending of all cryptos, and we should hope for that, and we should lobby for that, and we should get that done. That should happen in the US. Crypto, especially for de minimis amounts, should not be getting taxed for capital gains, right? It's completely ridiculous. It's just holding back the tech. All that being said, in Monero, we may or may not use our Monero to buy certain things on a peer-to-peer marketplace, and we're not waiting for permission to do so, right? We're opting out, living among each other, because we know it's ethically, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Just like cash itself, people should be able to transact peer-to-peer with cash. They should be able to do the same thing with digital cash. And so that's really the difference in mentality between Monero people and Bitcoiners at the end of the day.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's that transactional friction that, you know, when I give you $5 and you give me whatever I'm buying from you, see you later. You know, we don't need to bring, it's that old Mitch Hedberg thing. You want this, you want a receipt for your donut. It's like, let's not bring paper into this. Just like, you know, I'm on my way. And that's another thing about Monero, which has been, you know, right now we've seen a little bit of price, you know, increase relative to the dollar, which is fine. And that's what you're going to expect as people adopt, and different people are like, you talked earlier about the Bitcoin heist that happened, you know, I guess 2 weeks ago or whatever. And then the guy's trying to exchange into Monero, as, you know, obviously he should, if he's smart. But at the same time, like, the relative price stability of the dollar over the last, say, 80 years or whatever is a huge benefit. And the relative price stability of Monero is as well. You can't invest in something, even Bitcoin, dude, it has like a 20-30% drawdown, and people are like, oh, no big deal. It's like, guys, what are we talking about? Like, you can't use a currency that has that type of volatility baked into it. And so the relative stability of Monero is also a value to it, you know, as a means of exchange. So there's a lot of good things going on with this, and a lot of intrinsic advantages. So we just have to leverage them. That's it. If you think about it like Bitcoin, you've got to rewire that.
Yeah. And what's nice about the fact that Monero is on, you know, kind of detethered from the financial system is it does reduce a lot of the volatility. So on the negative end, we don't see it pump up because people can't easily ape into it. They can't jump on Coinbase and sell their Trump coin for Monero in 2 clicks of a button. They can't do it. It's hard to ape into, but it's also hard to ape out of it, right? They can't easily like run and just sell all their crypto on an exchange. I mean, obviously there are some ways to do it. You know, it exists on Kraken, but still, it helps. There's arguments to be made that by being disconnected, Monero becomes less volatile because it's, you know, if you want to get it, it takes a little work to get it. If you want to sell it, it takes a little work to sell it.
The way to get out of it is to buy fat chips, just FYI.
Yeah. Or, you know, you buy some land in Georgia, right? When you're looking to buy something a little more than a bag of chips, right? Yeah. Like there's endless options at that point. So that point, that is the dream. I mean, that's why I started XMR Bazaar, right? Like, I want to be able to, Doug, when you like, you know, I'm never selling Monero. I'm using it, right? So today I'm using it for fat chips. Yeah. Tomorrow I'm using it to buy a piece of property somewhere, or to buy whatever it may be, whatever I need.
Or a car. I've seen cars listed on there, or, you know, motorcycle jacket I saw yesterday. It really is that Craigslist functionality and people being able to transact freely. That's the whole game. That's what we should be doing.
We got an XMRChat Sheldon tipped $1.21. Doug, I'm visiting PorkFest, but only for 2 days because that XMR newbie is coming with me. So I would think that means you want to stay more than 2 days, but I hear you. With 2 days, should I go Thursday to Friday or Friday to Saturday? I guess Friday, Saturday. Friday, Saturday would be the time. That's like the real high pitch, right? So Thursday through Saturday are the top days. If you can only go 2, I'd come Friday and Saturday. And then Sundays, basically everybody goes home. So what do you think about this idea of like trying to get Monero relisted on exchange? Like, I would like to see, despite everything we're saying, I don't know if you ever heard my whole take on all this, but I do think while I love what we're doing here with XMR Bazaar and, Haveno and people getting Monero in the best way possible, KYC free and using it, I also do want noobs to be able to access it, right? Like they could access Fartcoin, but they can't get Monero, right? Like they've heard about Monero, they finally understand. Oh, that's pretty cool. How do I don't see it listed on Coinbase because it's not. All right, well you could download Cake Wallet, you could get some Litecoin on Coinbase, and then you can send it off Coinbase, and you can instant swap it in Cake Wallet, and like you could tell people do that, and that's all great. But I do think there's some positives to noobs being able to just as easily get Monero than any other crypto. And while they are KYC'd, at least they're now taking digital cash off the exchange versus taking some traceable crypto where they could be traced thereafter. But just curious what your take is. Is it? Do you agree with those points, or are you more extreme?
No, I totally agree. And I think the people who are would disagree, I think you need to kind of remember that if you're facilitating privacy for the sake of privacy, that's that's what's being questioned, or that's what's questionable. Privacy should be the default, the norm. I'm not breaking any laws. I mean, that I'm aware of. Obviously, I might speed or whatever once in a while, but I'm not a lawbreaker. I'm a upstanding citizen. I pay my taxes. I do everything to function in society. Now, again, I think that there are things that need to be reformed, and we should advocate for those things. But the answer isn't to try to to make legitimate practices look like illegitimate practices, right? Monero is totally legitimate as a means of transaction. It's a means of value, exchange and a value store. So why would we not be able to transact that on any exchange, even if there's a KYC involved? Again, it's like, I'm a legitimate person. I don't actually really mind if, like, when right now I'm talking to people out here who may be customers of mine. You know who I am. You guys can come see me at the farmer's market. I'm not a some kind of a weirdo, so to speak. And no offense to any of the weirdos out there, but at the same time, you can't kowtow to the fringe and expect to be adopted more broadly. You have to just come up and say, no, what we are doing is legitimate. There are legitimate ways to transact this, and we should be a part of all of these legitimate platforms. And there's no reason otherwise, in my opinion. So,
exactly. I mean, where you live,
like you, Doug.
What's that?
I said I knew I was going to like you, Doug.
Yeah. I knew right away too, man. I saw some of your Instagram posts. You guys look like you're chill dudes as well. Like you're enjoying life as you do these things.
You got it.
Yeah, no, once again, couldn't agree with you more. And where you live, I mean, you are able to go on Kraken. Here in New York, there is no way to even obtain Monero on a centralized exchange, and there's never been, which anybody who follows me, listens to me, knows that I think that's absurd.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize. Right? I knew they had some draconian policies in New York for a lot of things, but
right? Can you imagine? Monero's been cut off from day one. I mean, there's millions of crypto users here in New York. I don't know how many Coinbase accounts are New York based, but I'd say it's got to be in the few mil.
Yeah, easy. I mean, what's the population in New York? 25 million people or more?
Yeah. I mean, New York City alone is like whatever, 8, 9 million.
Something. Yeah. Well, again, it just comes back to this is a legitimate practice, and we have allowed our ruling bodies and entities of bureaucrats who have no knowledge of this. They have no intimate knowledge of this. They just, push a piece of paper across and stamp it and say yes or no, without any legitimate interactions or investigations into the utility here. And again, going back to the matter of fact is, as a means of exchange right now with Bitcoin, at the shake snack thing, it's like, okay, actually, I think it's a positive thing for crypto in general and for sort of, people in general, because, we do have to, calculate capital gains when we buy a burger. But the way that gets changed is by everybody saying, hey, what the fuck? I don't want to calculate capital gains every time I buy a burger. You guys need to fix this problem. And that's what should happen. And that's what hopefully will happen if we see that pressure. Again, fungibility in currency is essential. That's what Monero offers, like no other token that I'm aware of. It's just a matter of free people exercising their rights. These are God-given rights. These are non-negotiables. We have, a draconian set of policies from certain government actors who think they know better, and they don't. And they're wrong. And they've been wrong for thousands of years when they've tried to squeeze people like this. And we just need to continue to make our voices heard and be honest and direct about what we're doing as legitimate people. And free people will always win out, in my opinion.
And it does seem like, Trump, whatever you may think of him, you think he's like legit, he's doing good stuff, whatever, I don't know. But it does seem like this would really very much align with what he's supposed to be about, right? Like let people use Monero, get rid of the bit license in New York. Let's make America the crypto capital. Let's make things more free market.
Right.
So that's why I do think maybe now is also the time to strike. And I mean,
totally
to be honest, if you look at the chart, Monero has gone up perhaps more than any other asset or one of the largest movers since Trump has taken office. So it's it's been a Monero friendly environment.
Yeah, Trump is a response. It's easy to especially people who aren't from the Northeast, like you're from New York. You kind of probably get the Trump shtick a little bit. That half of it's tongue in cheek, right? Because that's how New Yorkers are. That's how they communicate, and I understand that as well. A lot of people just are like, "What the hell? This guy's a psychopath." And again, whatever. But the truth of the matter is he's a reaction. He's a reaction to a decoupling and a disconnection of an elite class, a ruling class, and its responsiveness to the people. This happened at the universities. It happened in government. But basically, they were put into these positions to steward and to help, again, going back to the purpose of the economy, to help people to thrive. That's what you're supposed to do, politicians. People are supposed to thrive. You are supposed to encourage thriving. People should be able to build a family, to be able to buy homes, to be able to buy and conduct business as they see fit. And free people should be able to do that and interact freely. And they completely forgot that. They decided to do what was in their own perceived best interest, both from a monetary perspective and from a disconnection from the problems of the working and middle class people. Like they don't have to, if you're a billionaire, you don't worry about making your mortgage payment. You've never even had to do that. You've never thought that way. And they just said, nah, you guys can just, let them eat cake to the middle and working classes. And Trump was the first guy who said, hey, listen, we should probably not do this. And people were like, wow, warts and all, imperfections and all, all of the stuff that he's done. He's crass and he's brazen and all this kind of stuff. They're like, we don't even care. He's the only guy who's like even pretending to give a shit about the working and middle class people and the entrepreneurs, like myself as an entrepreneur and myself as a taxpayer and all of the hundreds of millions of people who exist in that big section of the body politic who said, no, we've had enough. We've had enough being preached to. We've had enough being told that we're bad. And that stops. And again, is Trump perfect? Hell no. Does he have every policy? Is it great? No, hell no. But at the same time, he's advocating and he's doing what he sees and what many people see to be in the interest of, humanity thriving. And that's what's made him win. So anyway, buy my potato chips. I don't want to get too political, but I mean, Jesus, you queued me up, dog. Sorry. Had 2 cups of coffee.
If you're MAGA, you got to buy his potato chips. And if you're not, You should
guess
still
so.
buy, as we say. If you heard, it was a very well balanced opinion. I don't
Thank
think
you. Thank you. We got a pretty funny Facebook comment from this woman, and I loved it and posted it on X too. She said, right-wing potato chips. Now I've seen it all. And I was just like, that's hilarious. And, truthfully, it's amazing because, like, I grew up, my mom's a super crunchy, hippy-dippy granola lady, and she was, broadly left-wing coded forever, right? We, used tallow and ate organic. That was always where the left was making their play, and now it's totally flipped. So I mean, I guess stupid is as stupid does.
Well, that was fantastic, man. I think we can leave it there. Obviously, we could go all day. We do on this show. We're gonna move on to viewers on stage. You're more than welcome to hang out. If you got to go, do what you got to do. You're also always welcome to come on any day if you want to come on, give us an update on things that are going on.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah,
greatly
likewise.
Appreciate what you're doing with the products you're offering and the fact that you're accepting Monero and you're not just some guy who's like, yeah, I'll accept Monero. And you didn't you obviously understand the value proposition. You're in it for the right reasons. So kudos to you, man.
Chris, before you go, I do have a question. If you've ever had considerations on maybe selling your product in like maybe local stores, because there's a couple that I go to that are very close to me, and I feel like they would have an interest in selling something like your chips, like beef tallow chips, because they have all of these other kinds of local brands that they sell. Obviously, California is not local to me. There'd be a lot of shipping involved, but
no, because they're right wing coded too. No, I would love to. Very much appreciate it. Obviously, after the show, I've got to get to drop my kids off and then head over to the farmer's market to make some sales this morning. I'm a very busy guy, but would love to. They can sign up with us on, I'll send over a link to Utux to sign up with. There's a wholesale portal that we use where people can place orders. Obviously, if they want to reach out directly, of course, hello@eatfatchips.com. That goes to me, myself, or my business partner, Eric. We love to be, we are actually in a couple of stores. One in Utah, the other one's in Philly, that found us online. So we're shipping nationwide. And if people want to carry us in their stores, we would be absolutely overjoyed to have the opportunity. So yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah, maybe we get you in that supermarket in Astoria as well. I'm trying to get my coffee in over there on the next batch that comes in. So
Killer.
we could get those chips going over there too.
Yeah, let us know. So again, eatfatchips.com is the website. All our ats are eatfatchips on Insta and X. And then hello@eatfatchips.com for people that want to do wholesale inquiries or have questions about the product or anything, or suggestions for other flavors and stuff. We're working on a couple of other cool flavors that we're pretty excited about to launch pretty soon. But right now, buy them. We got some. Hopefully, Doug, you like it. What is it? 8 out of 10 at least. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, at least an 8 out of 10. I mean, you get extra points just because they're quote unquote healthy chips. But on flavor alone, just comparing it to a standard chip, yeah, I would if I had standard chip these, I'm going for these every time.
Hell yeah. Well, I love it.
So.
I very much appreciate it. Well, yeah, so but check us out on XMR Bazaar, of course. Eat fat chips, and it's the most delicious potato chips on earth, guys. You're gonna be snacking anyway. Why not snack better?
Awesome, brother. Good luck with everything, and hope to see you around these parts. You're always welcome. Guys, go on XMR Bazaar, order them, taste them for yourself. It's a bag of chips. It's worth the experiment just for using Monero alone. Go buy some chips on XMR Bazaar.
Thanks again.
All right,
guys.
buddy. Yep, we'll be in touch.
We'll do it again. Appreciate it.
Ciao.
Thanks, Chris. Awesome,
dude.
I'm excited to try out mine. Hopefully this week.
Oh, you did order. You ordered?
I did. I bought some with Monero the other day.
Fantastic.
XMR Bazaar. So yep.
Alrighty, I love it. Our special guest segment is just just a new XMR Bazaar user per week, which is great. Which is like the whole idea. It's a great. It's all working. It's a nice symbiotic thing we got going on here. Because I'm excited next week to bring on the guy who's selling land in Georgia. That should be very cool too.
True. That will be interesting to see. Yeah, XMR Bazaar is it's like the last holdout for Monero eBay type service. We've had seems like they come and go, unfortunately. But
yeah, we'll see. Well, I'm not going anywhere, so it should be here to stay. I am going to try to do a fundraiser on the site itself. We'll get that going soon. Now that we have a decent amount of usage, I think we've proved concept pretty well. So we'll try to do that with the hope of. But I'm not going anywhere nonetheless. So. Looks like we do have a super chat. Gigahem tipped $4.16. Speaking of leverage and volatility, there are lots of exchanges to buy and sell XMR, but we still don't have an on-chain options market. We need a Monero-based solution for stock market gamblers who want to use their own collateral as leverage. To trade Monero for stocks is that what he's essentially saying?
Options. So basically, yeah, leverage for Monero. There's not a lot of way to leverage Monero, because all those those kind of iffy gray websites that you don't really need KYC to use, well, they don't have Monero. And there are even the couple exchanges that do, like the leverage and options for Monero is like low or they don't exist. I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah. I mean, so Ride Dex, you'll be able to earn interest on your Monero. Right, that's kind of cool.
Also, I think the XMR Bazaar multi-language feature seemed to break a few specific ASCII characters. It's not rendering correctly, like the apostrophe.
Oh, is that what's going on here?
Yes.
I'm like, why is everybody cursing at me today? All right, Fiat Demise, if you're watching, look into that. That's funny. Getting some live feedback on that. Interesting. Yeah, that must be what that is, I guess. All right, we're actually moving along pretty swiftly today because it all started off with Bawdy on 2x.
10x.
But let's get viewers on stage. Keep it going.
All right, let's do it.
Get on with their day.
It's the Viewers on Stage segment. It's that time where we invite you, the viewers, up on stage to comment on anything you've heard so far today, ask the guest a question, or maybe talk about one of the news topics. Come on down.
All right, pulling everyone up here.
So I absolutely love the previous special guest with the chips, Eat Fat Chips. I'm interested in those salty Vins. Those look like they would be good. I'd also be very interested in some barbecue because I love barbecue chips.
Oh, true. Barbecue would be a nice flavor.
I also love that this person, the Eat Fat Chips guy, is actually trying to buy their inputs in Monero. And I would ask if I noticed that the prices on the site are in fiat. Would it be possible for you to post them in Monero instead of fiat? And also, if you're a user of XMR Bazaar and you notice a person post their item in fiat, send them a message and be like, hey, can you post your item directly in Monero? Because as you get more and more items posted directly in Monero, the Monero price will start to stabilize against real goods and services.
I don't think this is really possible until they're also using Monero to like further down the chain, right? Because like there's too much consideration needed for them as a business and being able to make a certain amount of money, with having to buy their products ultimately from people who are going to do it with fiat.
That's why you use the simple moving average. So they use the simple moving average, which gives them the amount of fiat they need to then move their XMR back out into fiat when they need to purchase. I
love that shortwave just continues to drive this point home. And
but it's not.
Keep doing it, brother. Keep doing it. It's good though. This is how it. Because at the end of the day, it is just a mindset, right? Like we need to start thinking in terms of Monero, and the only way we do that is if we price everything in Monero. When you look at a bag of chips and it's priced at whatever 0.001 Monero, you need to, in your mind, know what that value is, right?
And the other thing that we need to consider is some of this price stability is derived by the fact that it's become ubiquitous to price things in dollars. And with aside from the stair-step pump that we've seen in Monero throughout history, it does have a high level of stability against the price of your input costs when you're producing something like tallow chips. So it is objectively better. It's really the consumer hurdle that Tux is talking about. But
Yeah,
I think
that's
people would
the
be
thing.
surprised how
As right
close we
as
actually are.
Yeah, you think so? I mean, shortwave is taking the right approach. Keep drilling it home, but it's going to take some time. And people that are out there actually trying to run a business, like Tuck is saying, it's like they can't afford to take that risk. What they see as a risk, right?
I would like to shout out a vendor on XMR Bazaar called MGold, MGOLD, and they are apparently an electronics recycling company in like Massachusetts, and they sell like used laptops and desktops and like RAM and stuff like that, and they price all of their items directly in Monero. And while I'm not looking at a new laptop right now, mine's 11 years old, and so I'm thinking about replacing it. And when I go to replace it, I know who I'm going to go to buy my new laptop, because I can look and I can be like, okay, this laptop is 1% of my Monero holdings. That's a fair price. Or this laptop is 10% of my Monero holdings. I might not buy that one. That might be a little rich for my blood. And I can know that based on my Monero holdings, the fact that they've priced their laptops in Monero directly, I can be like, yeah, you know what? I'll take that. I like that idea. I like that laptop for that price.
Is there a way to get the moving average as kind of like a little ticker on the XMR Bazaar? Because that would be handy.
Possibly. I use TradingView, but maybe Doug and Fiat Demise and people like that could. Not Fiat Demise. I think I don't think he was.
You're saying in addition to one XMR equals whatever the price is at that moment, to also have the average, right? The moving average.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Just to kind of have that up there so that people
can
be like, oh, what's that number again? And they're like, oh, there it is.
You know? Yeah.
I think it would be important to do like the short and the long too. For what shortwave is doing, I mean, I think he has the right number of days, but the thing is so for example, when you're dealing with bonds, you're always looking for, they call that a yield curve inversion, I think, or whatever, but you're always looking for this idea that longs aren't yielding as much as shorts, or shorts aren't, or whether shorts or longs are yielding more over time. With Monero, if you were to see like, the 100-day moving average versus the 200-day moving average aren't lining up in a certain way, it might change your spending habits. And the thing is having that widely available to all might have an effect on, people buying and selling in Monero.
Yeah, I think you should do a longer term, like say, like 200 days or whatever. It's like 6 months. And then you should do like a shorter term, like 30 to 60 days or something like that. That way you have like the current price, the long-term SMA, and the short-term SMA. That's a really good idea.
I had something really interesting happen yesterday that I thought everybody would be curious about. But first off, there's been a lot of like within the Monero community, people showing, and it's usually like kind of the anti-government tilt, which props to you if you're anti-government, keep up the fight. But the idea being that people would just spike real estate tax prices and all of that, and all of a sudden it would become unaffordable to live in a house that you own. And something occurred to me, because I also did a lot of work for private individuals over the last week that put me in different like home locations and stuff. And it got me thinking about real estate as an investment and how the game is about to change significantly, because build quality goes down, land prices go up, and then there's this never-ending bidding war for wealthy people to park their wealth in something that's like an appreciating asset. And it continues to price people out of the idea of protecting their wealth with real estate. But more importantly, it's a rich man's game, because you also have to include the carry cost. And I'm old enough to remember when carry cost was significantly less of a concern when you were making investments in real estate. And nowadays, if you take into account carry cost at a lot of these locations, even though people currently don't, because they're still thinking of it as real estate always goes up, real estate always goes up. Well, if you can't maintain the carry cost, then it doesn't matter if it goes up, because you're going to get pushed out before it becomes a real investment. And then you could think of it like an on and off ramp. So when you buy a property, you have to pay a certain amount of money to get into the property, and then a certain amount of money to get out of the property. And kind of reminds me of the premiums on gold, where when you're buying in, you pay a premium. When you're selling out, you never get your premium. So you basically have to allow the investment to mature a certain amount of time. And that's assuming that it does in fact go up. But unlike gold, if there's a building on your land, or if you don't maintain the land, or certain people move in around the land, it doesn't stay, I guess you could say, as fungible as gold. Property doesn't hold its value the same way that gold holds its value. Property holds its value based on a certain list of concerns. And the playing field of those concerns are rapidly changing. So your carry costs are going up. Your build quality is going down. The ability for people to build on bare land, that formula is changing. And it's an ever increasing percentage of the population that also has to get involved with debt and finance in order to build on some land, or whatever the case may be. So the reality is I think that savvy investors are going to find themselves more interested in private cryptos than in real estate holdings. I think that's going to flip very soon, because private cryptos have no carry cost, or some of them do, but those ones suck. But Monero doesn't. And private cryptos are easily immune to the subjugation of the tax oligarchy. Private cryptos allow you to get in and out of any other market in a highly liquid state. And all of a sudden, when the big money is considering, this is my new savings vehicle that matures the same way as land used to, because even with stuff that has a tail emission, people need to realize that tail emission only creates an equilibrium. It does not create inflation. It's just the speed at which you create a tail emission raises or lowers the equilibrium of that stability of price. People are already used to a tail emission. They just don't realize it, because fiat has a tail emission. And the fiat tail emission is adjustable based on the needs of the tax vampires. Versus something like Monero, it's a stable equilibrium that people can objectively observe and analyze. So, but land also has a tail emission. Gold also has a tail emission. Gold will continue to be mined until it reaches an equilibrium, and there will always be more gold to mine. The expense for mining additional gold will always go up. Real estate will always have a tail emission. People always say, oh, there's only so much land, but that's nonsense. I mean, technically, there's also only so much gold, but we haven't even come close to using all of the gold, and we haven't come close to using all of the land. It's really a question of infrastructure and then building techniques. So yeah, right now it might not be economically viable to build on the side of the mountain, but we all know it's possible. You know, you horizontal pile drive a massive beam for your platform, and you just build on the side of the mountain, you know, winch elevators or something like that. You can build basically anywhere. You could live at the bottom of the ocean if the land value was as such to drive that market. And that is land's tail emission. The economic viability of certain pieces of land is the tail emission. And the economic viability of mining more gold is the tail emission. With Monero, if Monero depreciates too much, you're going to see people just abandoning their dust because it's not worth anything anymore. That dust is not going to come back. And like when people start to grasp the economic reality of, you already have tail emission with fiat. and it's adjustable. But with Monero, it's equilibrium. With gold, it's equilibrium. And with land, it's equilibrium. I have a sneaking suspicion that to avoid carry costs and on and off ramping, Monero is going to eat an ever-increasing supply of where people want to park their wealth to protect it from things like, divorce, rape, and what is it called? Child support and government overreach and all of these other things, like the taxes that go along with buying and selling land. You can only go so far with that before people are going to start to look for other places to park their wealth. And now we see Monero as a form of fiat already leaching into the conscious of the avant-garde population. Well, those same people becoming aware of the existence of crypto, it's not a very far logical chain to find yourself thinking of it as a savings vehicle as opposed to gold and land.
Where I live, very interesting what you talk, because it's a completely different history where I live. And all people see land and real estate as an investment. But the reality here in North Spain is that since 2008, this investing vehicle is completely broke. We have a 90% drop, 80% drop, depending on the area. And now in some cities, we are reaching break-even 2008, but only in some cities. In the rural extensions, it's catastrophic. Because, with a real estate, with a home, with a house, it's not an investment. To me, it's like a consume, like you buy a pair of shoes and you buy a house. The house, how much is going to last? 50 years, 100 years if it's made of reinforcement concrete. But, it's a consume product, expensive consume product, and you have to maintain. You have to pay a lot of taxes because you really didn't own that house. You have a concession over that house. So to me, it's kind of cultural. It's a different thing in America, in United Kingdom, in Spain, in some areas of Spain. It's a different thing, But I think it's a bubble in the United States. What is really true, if you need to build a new house, you have to pay more than 2008. But because the inflation, people don't want to work no more. So you need to pay really more. It's not enough. Maybe if you go to Bangladesh to have some workers there and bring them back to here to work for you, maybe you can do something. But even in that case, I hardly doubt.
Also, something from earlier, Monero is a spending currency, and you should absolutely spend it. But then, when you spend it, you should absolutely replace what you spent, because otherwise you're going to kick yourself down the road. Like that guy who bought the pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin back in the Bitcoin Pizza Day in 2011. If Laszlo, or whatever his name is, had replaced that Bitcoin after he spent it, he would be a rich man, right? So it's not the fact that he spent 10,000 Bitcoin on a pizza. It's the fact that he might not have replaced that 10,000 Bitcoin after he then spent it. But if you replace what you use, then you're gonna benefit. And that's what I do. I spend my Monero. I'm perfectly happy to spend my Monero.
Yeah,
but you can be absolutely certain I'm going to replace it.
Want to have some always apart, because you never know if you can get it in the future. That's 100%. Maybe for the price, maybe for the political situation. You always want to have something. In my case, for example, I went very public about my Monero activity, and what I can say, I use a whole lot of Monero than I have. But it's surpasses my budget right now. But maybe in the future, if you increase your volume transactions in your business, you have to really think about it, because as more people use Monero, the logical situation is goes up in value against fiat currency. That's completely normal. We are we can say openly here, we are the darknet king. We are the open internet currency king, because nobody who has a little brain want to use open currency. And to me, regarding the news, this Coinbase situation with that, the CEO of Coinbase to me is like Zuckerberg. It's the Facebook of this business. To me, it's disgusting. The same copy paste business, the same copy paste corruption. I mean, this is all again the same history. I don't know. I deleted Facebook more than a decade ago, and 2014, I think. I didn't realize the existence of Monero back then, but I wish I did, of course.
Every one of these wrench attacks that we hear about, the people's daughter, like the daughter and their grandson managing to beat off the attackers with the help of a couple other people, and this David person who got kidnapped in January and got his finger cut off. Every time you hear about one of these attacks, it's an advertisement for Monero. It is absolutely an advertisement for Monero, because if these people weren't using public ledgers, there's a good chance that they would not have been attacked.
To me, this whole surveillance situation we have with the Facebook mafia, the Coinbase mafia, this is getting out of hand. They are making people addict to their mobile phones, to their social media, to their. They are taking out their lives and their liberty in practice, because when China banned some social media on the 18, I don't know, I think it's more for children there, but they have certain politics to control the situation on the children, because what you end up is with a situation that people just take their lives with these things and their entire privacy, and they are used as a product 100%, and for consumer purpose, for political purpose, for total vanish their time and their lives to just vulgar problems and regular things a political could care, or I don't know. But people are awakening to be more independent and more free on the internet, and Monero is a key theme, because it's the internet money right now, I believe.
Where'd everybody go? Alaska, Doug, Tux, where'd everybody go?
We're busy processing the information and data.
So what is the name of the Coinbase boss? That bald guy?
Brian Armstrong.
Yeah, to me it's like Zuckerberg, the same dude, the same government friend dude, the nice guy, government mafia, and that's soy boy, like I don't know how you want to call it, but disgusting situation what we have, but honestly, I think more alternatives will come, and these people will be forgotten forever.
Oh, and speaking of exchanges, I did actually read through that entire paper that was published by the 2 German universities and that company out of California, TRM Labs, about the privacy of decentralized exchanges. And I did bring it up with Woodser, the developer of Haveno, and there are a couple of things that he sees that could be better from that paper, and he's going to try to implement them. So we should be getting fixes for at least some of the stuff here soon-ish.
Monero bro looks like he's having a hell of a time, man.
Yeah, what is going on there? What is going
Yo,
on?
yo, yo! It's your Monero, bro! What's up, guys? Anybody hear me?
Hello, Monero,
Tell us
bro.
what's going on
Hey,
over there.
hey, hey! Hola, hola! Meet our rebellion people. It's a demonstration. So
Italy.
everybody who has whatever on his heart, he can show it by building a car. And so I thought, oh, let's share this guy with you guys, because I think I should next year I build a Monero car and do something, I don't know, with crowdfunding or whatever, and then maybe I can build some big truck or something and show these guys we should join the financial revolution, because revolution is in their blood. These guys are full of drugs, but they have balls. Hey! Ole! Good. So you guys enjoy. I just mute my mic and enjoy, yeah. I guess.
Monero bro, I have a question for you.
Sure,
Many
go ahead.
questions.
Yeah, get over.
My first question is, are the yellow vests for solidarity with the yellow vest movement from many years ago, or are they for safety?
They are for safety. They are volunteers. So it's all voluntarily. Some of them did it before, so it is once in a year happening. So some have experience, some are new.
My
So
second, I have another
and you
question.
should not mix them with the other yellow because the other yellow has guns. They are police.
I have another question for you. How many
Go ahead.
people are recognizing Monero from your hat and your necklace?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, well, they're making me happy at least when they recognize it. So I think the most are shutting their mouth. You know, they don't want to get recognized, even not by me. So, but I think I met 3. Yeah, I think I 3.
Are you getting a chance to explain to people what the logo means?
Well, I think it's no. I don't even have time for party. I mean, it's good to know that it's good to know to meet them, to see the logo. I started with a building that is has a big message. So maybe I should send a picture of that later, maybe. So it is good to meet the orange color and to get the trust with it, whatever, you know. But yeah, people already know these guys. These guys know me. They know already my message, and I think that is the most powerful. They can share it as well, you know, to their family and friends. So these guys are in for party today. Actually, it is a demonstration, but actually they go for party.
Can you share with us where you're at?
Hold on, it's a little bit loud in here. It's a little bit loudy, lady.
Can you tell
I
us
think
where
I
you
can
are?
hear you now. Say again, mate. Say again. Hello.
Can you tell us where you are right now, Monero bro?
It is. Hey guys, what are we? What are we? Oh, he doesn't know English. What are we? In Monero land. Monero land. Hey, Yannick! Ole! So I think I should say just middle in the country. Now I should just expose it. It is in Utrecht. You say it in Dutch, Utrecht. Utrecht. So it is middle it's just 30 minutes from Amsterdam, the capital. And I put the website below my name, Monero Bro, so you can go to it and have a look. If you scroll all the way downstairs, you can see the story, what it's all about, whatever.
Is there can I send you some Monero to give away to some of these people?
Yeah, sure, mate. It is always welcome. But yeah, I think it's more for restaurants to give away, So this the way I do it most of the time, to tip them above in Monero. But yeah, I mean, I have a bag here. You see, I have this bag from you know what I'm talking about. And people are asking, who recognizes they are associated with the dark web, yeah. So what I'm sharing here is not Monero, but stuff in the dark web. If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean.
I think we all know what you mean, sir.
So yeah, it is always welcome. Moneros are always welcome. I try to do maybe crowdfunding on Kuno for the next year to see if I can build a car. Like I don't know if you can see. I was actually planning for this year, but it was hey. See you, man. Good. So yeah, I should put it on the Kuno. I think that's the best, right? Yeah. Who I'm talking actually, it is from Canada, right?
What's from Canada?
You are the guy from Canada, right?
I'm not sure where they come
from. Canada. You are.
Oh no, he's from Alaska.
Alaska,
not Canada.
Alaska. Yeah, that's my man.
Talking about the bag still, yeah.
The smart man, the philosophy man, the professor of Monero. Well, yeah, we're having a fun time here. I'm sharing with all my knowledge and love to these guys. Some good weed, some good other things, and then I say they say thanks, and then I say no, thank the Monero community, because it went from 200 to 300 in 1 week. So if you want to be happy, get in. So yeah.
If you want freedom, get in. So can you tell us more about these protests that you're at right now?
I sent this website, right? You can have a quick look at it, maybe have a read. I think I will explain it maybe bad, but
yeah.
it is about let me say at the front we have a car that is protesting about squatting. So if they say we don't want empty buildings anymore, and we want that the rules are getting softer. Then you have another car that are protesting for gay-friendly whatever laws or something. Then we have another one that is saying about animals or something. So everything what is not okay in this country, not okay enough, they are protesting about. I think that's the story.
So are you saying that the protests that you have are about multiple different topics at once? Because here in the United States,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
so Monero should be in next year.
Here in the United States, we generally protest about one thing at a time. So you'll have people that will go and protest about government overreach or animal rights or something like that. But that's all the protest will be about. There's not multiple things in one protest.
There you go. So you need something as well like this same concept, so we can unite this power. Because if you keep protesting about one thing, you are small, not big enough to make a difference, maybe. And if you get to know these people, this rebellion that are in their blood. Maybe you help them, they help you one day. Even that is not a bad topic, but you're doing a favor, and the next time you get a favor.
American politics tends to be a little more divisive, though, so it would be a little harder. But I think you're onto something.
Well, I tell you what, if you've got some lead time for the next thing, like you should, put a post up or like message me, and I'd be happy to try and make designs for like stickers so you can like hand stuff out.
Yeah, definitely. Manifestation. I need stickers. I need stickers. I want to get donated in stickers.
Because I don't like the fucking kingdom, bro.
Please send them here. Let me show you what I already get.
And it's like me, the same ideology, the same open mind, but he likes the fucking kingdom. Bro.
I tried to get train tickets from Madrid to Lisbon.
This is my favorite one.
Nice. Nice trip.
What language is that in?
Sorry. Please.
Are they all in?
For Douglas. What is Douglas?
Thank you.
I got some good weed.
You can say nice, but it's not.
Sorry. So yeah, guys, if you got good ideas for a car, then it is. We got a whole year, right?
What? Monero car. You don't like?
A Monero. What you say? A Monero car.
No, like the Dogecoin.
No, Dodge.
Dogecoin. Jamaican bobsleigh team. A bus, no?
It's the Jamaica bobsleigh team. You're funded by Dogecoin.
There is no high speed.
So guys, you have some questions more because I feel like I distract you guys. I don't know.
I have so many questions, but I'd love to see you try to tell somebody about Monero. Just like watch the interaction.
I'm gonna tell the cup about Monero. Tell him.
There you go.
Hey, Monero bro, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
What's going on, man? I've been listening to you in the background. I was doing something else.
Good.
Are you going to MoneroCon? Are you going to MoneroCon this year?
I'm going everywhere, man. I'm going everywhere. I'm going to the moon.
Monero Bro is one of my favorites among many, as you guys know. I love hanging out with him in person. He's always a good time, and I think I've seen you at every MoneroCon. I think, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you this time, right? You're not coming.
Yes,
You're not coming.
I will not be there.
I don't care. I forgive you. You have another Monero mission.
Yes,
one,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. I'll be working on another important Monero mission, PorkFest. I know that's far for you, but maybe we get you to Monerotopia in February.
I hope, man. I hope, yeah.
In Mexico, it will be in Mexico City again.
Actually, there are a lot of Esperanto people here in the Netherlands.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
So I'm sharing a lot of knowledge to them. So when they go to holiday or to the family back, they bring Monero with them back. So actually,
now this protest that you're at, I'm hearing it's basically like a protest for protests. It's like a parade of different protests.
Yeah. Maybe we should call it a protest to be able to protest. In the future,
it's like the government gets out all the steam on one day. Come and protest today.
It's a meta protest. If you have something to protest about, please come on this day and protest about it.
But I hear Monero Bro's point. Like, if you're gonna have early adopters in Monero, this is probably your crowd. People that are fed up with things, that see the state doing perhaps more harm than good. So it's a good group of people to get interested in Monero. Do a lot of people there know about Monero or not really? It's
no.
Okay.
I think let me guess. Like one, not even 1%. Not even.
But probably most of them know crypto at this point.
Let me ask. Do you know Monero?
Sorry?
Monero, dinero.
Yes,
Dinero. Esperanto is dinero.
You need dinero?
Yeah, I need a lot of Monero.
Oh, I also.
You too. I learn you. In 1 minute, I have you with a cake wallet and with some Moneros.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna show you where you can have a haircut with it. You can go to the garage. You can go. It's freedom money. So a lot of money gets used of crypto.
Tell him, explain to him it's like Bitcoin. He probably knows Bitcoin.
It's like Bitcoin, right?
But
So it is
untraceable. Nobody can see
untraceable.
see it when you use it.
So it's hard for you to follow it. Are you okay with that? Okay. It's your business, not mine.
I don't know. You got to work. You got to work on your approach a little bit, brother.
Well, yeah. The good point is to say to people that is not crypto, just crypto.
Yes.
Most use crypto to use money to gain money. Crypto Monero lovers are using money to gain freedom, to hold their freedom. Hodl in crypto.
You got to approach the right group of protesters that might align with Monero.
If you guys are interested, the way that I usually onboard cops is I explain to them that it's good for their own personal security. So basically, cops can often become like favored from people that have been prosecuted, and it's a way to protect themselves and their family from identity theft or finding out where they live, or and that usually
it's also the best way to accept a bribe, right? If you're gonna get paid off as a cop, this is what the tool you're gonna want to use.
That's implicated, and that's the beautiful thing.
Exactly.
You should definitely leave with that.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying you accept them, but if you were, this is the tool you're going to want to use. Would you like some just as a test? Oh, my God. Monero, bro, looks like a beautiful day there.
It is an awesome day to share Monero love, energy, and hopefully one day the next year I can build a truck as well, maybe. With
so it's like a parade. It's a parade that happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can have
Protest parade.
a little
That's
Monero
what
float.
protests look like when your society is homogenous.
Yeah.
So, tell me where you are, Douglas. I'm coming to you. I have a private Monero jet.
Come to New York, brother. I'll pick you up. Hit me up on Signal. I'll come get you. All right, Monero, bro. We'll let you continue to venture on. You can jump back in if you got something you want to update us on. If you're actually able to onboard somebody to Monero, if you can onboard somebody, send them a few bucks. We'll happily reimburse. I'll reimburse. Try to send somebody $5 in Monero. Let us know.
I just saw you with the mask. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Who am I? Mr. Monero. No, it's live. It's live. Live. Yeah. Do the Monero family. What is he doing here? Monero. This is Douglas. This is like the captain, president of Monero. This is the professor from Alaska.
Yeah.
And she will be ambassador one day. Hey Douglas, thank you very much.
You got some new Monero friends. All right, buddy. Yeah, we'll keep you on the sidelines here. Chime in when you want. Does anybody else have anything else? I see Ulysses is up here.
Yeah.
Ulysses, anything you want to bring up?
Oh, well, I mean,
Monero, bro, go ahead and
talking
mute
about
yourself, please.
posting stuff with in XMR versus fiat. Everybody could check out my listing on XMR Bazaar. I do that. All my stuff's in Monero, priced in Monero. So.
Oh, awesome!
Go ahead and bring it up if you like. Feel free to share the screen. Bring it up.
I've been working away like an ant in the background, so I've got loads of stuff I'm getting put together. So I am really liking the whole XMR experience in terms of like interface and all that. It's like taking care of the whole like, how do I set up a web shop? And I'm like, you know what? I'll just keep it simple and just fucking do it on XMR Bazaar.
Exactly. Obviously, that's what we're trying to move towards. Make it, my hope is eventually it's easier than the existing centralized solutions, fiat solutions we have, right? Because it doesn't even require connecting a bank account. A 13-year-old could start selling, handmade jewelry on XMR Bazaar, right? And I think once designed correctly, the user experience should be even smoother than existing solutions. It's just going to take some time for us to get there.
We need to see Franya on XMR Bazaar selling things.
She may already be on there, bro. She's no fool.
It is possible. It is indeed possible.
I do have some good ideas of things she should probably sell. Yeah, Ulysses, go ahead. You could bring up your share screen if you like. Oh, did you put it up? Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how to do that.
Or I could probably try to find it for you. Anybody else? Anybody else have anything they want to share? Shortwave, I heard you were commenting on what that paper was actually all about. Was what was revealing about it with regards to Haveno and how private it may or may not be when people are using it?
Yeah, so TLDR is I sent it to Woodser and he knows about it already, so he's read the paper, he's seen it, and there are a couple of things that he's going to look into possibly improving, mainly with the date and time obfuscation. So that will solve a decent amount of it. And he's thinking about possibly moving the thing from like 5% to 10% as a variance to make it a little more difficult. The big thing is don't chain swap. If you're going to get into Monero, do it from fiat. Don't do it from some sort of transparent crypto like Litecoin or Bitcoin or whatever. It's better to do it from fiat directly, actually, which is kind of interesting. You wouldn't think that, but it is.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and explain that more so people understand that?
So when you chain swap, and when you go from, like, say, Bitcoin to Monero, the Bitcoin transaction is on the Bitcoin chain, timestamped for everybody to see. And the Monero, while it's not like transparent or whatever, they still get some sort of timestamp or rough timestamp of when that Monero trade occurred, and they could possibly link it that way. But by doing fiat, they don't have that initial start with the transparent chain to work from.
So one thing that I noticed is there's actually computer hardware on XMR Bazaar for crazy low prices that are hard to find anywhere else. I'm starting to notice that XMR Bazaar is becoming a place where if you have niche, which I don't know if you remember, but before it launched, it was my suggestion that people put things on there that certain people would be looking for that they can't find anywhere else. But it's actually becoming more of that than I wanted. So, for example, there's a Radeon RX 5800 8GB GDDR5 graphics card. They're offering it for less than $100. The price is listed in Monero. So it's 0.29 XMR right now.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, but he's tested. It's working. It was pulled straight out of a workstation. They have pictures up and everything. But the thing is if you were building your own workstation or I haven't tested it yet, but I wonder if it would be really good for merge mining on, with the Tari blockchain, just setting up a little like mini miner operation or something like that. But yeah, it's very interesting. In fact, you could run a really small language model on it or something like that, especially one of those tailor-made language models with very few parameters but highly specialized. They're hard to find these days at this price, tested and working. And now if a person was looking for that, it would push them to onboard for Monero.
Also, while you're there, you should take a look at MGold, the seller, because he's got some interesting computer hardware available. And some of those laptops.
Yeah, there's
really
like really
prices.
good deals on firewalls and stuff in here. It looks good.
A couple of those laptops have my eye. As I said, I'm not planning on replacing my laptop yet, but a couple of those laptops are some really good deals. It's mainly that you've got to think.
See the W6600. There's a W6600 in here too. That's also And once again, he posted it in XMR, like the price. Yeah, dude, M Gold, what a G. Oh, he's like e-cycling. Yeah, so he does like computer components recycling. That is super cool that people like that are getting into the Monero scene.
I'm really enjoying it, and the fact that he prices his prices in Monero, as I said, I can think in terms of Monero. I have this much Monero. This costs X Monero, and that is 1% of my total holdings, or whatever, or 2% or 5%. You know, 5% might be a little more than I want to spend on a laptop. Maybe I want to spend only 1% for now, and I can do that because he prices his prices in Monero. I don't have to think about fiat. I can just be like, okay, that's 0.1 Monero. I like that price, or I don't like that price, or whatever.
I might grab one of these laptops.
Yeah, dude, this guy is he's a G. This guy is awesome. You should try to get him up on the show.
Bring him up for a special guest segment at some point.
Yeah, I think he actually reached out recently. DM'd me.
Dude, he would be an excellent guest. And the other thing is that's the perfect guy to be field testing the platform. You know, like he could really help like fine tune XMR Bazaar.
Hey Doug, could you pull up my listing?
Yeah, what is it under?
It's Ulysses XYZ.
I can't. So wait, spell it for me. Your username?
Yeah, ULYSSES XYZ.
All one, right?
Yeah.
And if you can't find it from the search, you could always go to xmrbazaar.com/user/UlyssesXYZ, and that would bring up his actual profile.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we got to continue to improve search. Actually, I was talking to somebody on here that's offering, like, they build chat bots for you. So we might build one for XMR Bazaar, which could be cool. It would be super, like, to help noobs when they first come on. They could ask the chat bot any questions they might have. You know, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I set this up? You know, any noobish questions they might have. They might ask about the escrow, about the bonds. We'll give them detailed answers, but then also potentially being used for really good search.
So, Yuli, I'm going to buy these mugs from you directly because I have a sneaking suspicion that your shipping is going to be higher when you send it to Alaska.
Yeah.
Wow, those are beautiful, man.
Yeah, I'm going to need me some of these, bro. Just like maybe 10, 20, something like that.
Well, I figure since everybody's getting into the coffee roasting business, it's like, well, you're going to need a vessel for it. So
beautiful. Maybe we get these going at the next Monerotopia as well as part of the swag. Or I'm sure there'll be other things too. Just like last year, we'll have Ulysses design all the swag. He did a fantastic job last year.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I had lots of fun with that. So I've got loads of stuff now. It's just. Actually, I had a question about this, and I mean, this is like a feature request, I guess. But what I'd like to be able to do is like sort my, offerings on my profile by kind of category. I don't see anything obvious, so it just kind of puts everything in by, I guess, when I've posted things.
Well, no, you could add tags to listings.
Okay.
So you have a description. Yeah, you do have some tags, coffee, mug. Is that what you mean? So that things pop up.
Well, I mean, like
when
you go to my profile, everything's just kind of posted up in order that I've I've made them. I was wondering if it was a way to sort that view by saying like, oh, here are all the mugs, here are all the shirts, here's all the other stuff.
Yes, at some point.
Okay.
That's definitely, they'll be on the horizon. But yeah, not there yet. We're focused on other features. But yeah, that could become a useful tool. Yeah, we definitely want to make it more useful for like power users so that they can be, professional vendors here. But that's something like that's probably going to be a bit down the line.
Yeah, because I think that'd be great. I kind of like how the Amazon does it with like particular brands. Like you'll click on an item and then it's like, oh, do you want to go to the Amazon store for that user or brand or whatever? And then it's got all the items that person has or that vendor's offering.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like kind of real long term, we would be kind of moving towards being like a Shopify, right?
Mm.
So it becomes a place you could easily spin up your own like marketplace. But then there's also a discovery where you can search and discover all the different items, services throughout everybody's individual, site. Do things like offer even ability to like custom domains, potentially. This is all down the line, but that's probably the direction we're moving in. Yeah. Cool though. What else you have on here? So the mugs are cool. Oh, you have the shirt. That's the same design as as my mug.
Yeah. Well, and the background was from one of the stickers that I tossed up on a sign somewhere in Mexico.
Si los usamos, ganamos. I love it. Nice, man. Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm excited. So I got more stuff I'm going to be uploading, and so I'll definitely want to be one of those power users to try and get. That's the web front for the shop. So
beautiful. Are you going to? Are you coming to PorkFest?
Hell yeah, I'm coming to PorkFest.
Oh, amazing! Fantastic. When do you think you're showing up?
I'm going to try and get there probably the day before. It's May on the 15th.
Oh, so you're coming for like the whole week? Wow.
Yeah, I may as well. I mean, it's if I'm going there for a day, I may as well stay for an entire week. So definitely looking forward to jumping in with both feet.
Fantastic. Yeah. You'll have a good time. I probably won't be showing up till like Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's when things will really kick off at the Monero tent. But I think Aaron will probably be there all week, even earlier. I mean, well, it's its own animal because PorkFest itself, there'll be tons of people there, and then so the Monerotopia tent is, I'm sure, especially because it's very strategically located. It's the biggest tent at PorkFest, so there'll be plenty of action, I'm sure.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. I had this idea. I'm gonna make like a little banner that I can stick in my backpack, and it'll be like the backpack agora, and then that way I can just wander around, and people will be like, oh, I could buy stuff from you. I'm like, hell yeah, you can. For Monero.
It's kind of funny. Ulysses sells awesome things, and I'm over here selling shaving cream and seeds and tampons and deodorant.
Well, hey, it's
takes all types.
Yeah, all types. Like that's got to be the point of the market, where it's just like, dude, I can get anything I want, anything, whether it's a mug or whether it's a pair of like handkerchiefs or whatever.
Showing off your abilities here to design custom swag for events.
Yep.
Monerotopia being one of your customers for sure.
Absolutely.
Wow, look at that. We did good job on the swag last year, man. Fantastic.
Yeah.
The two mugs, the hat, the bag.
Well, I'm glad we had enough lead time to get that all sorted. Yeah.
My son said that your mug designs were, and I quote, fire.
Yeah.
It's high praise from the next generation.
Wow. I figured they'd have a different word for that.
I think he got it from his mom.
What's the Esperanto for fire?
I have no idea, but he certainly would know.
Yeah.
What you need is a mug that heats your coffee by being on fire without burning you.
No, you got to make it. It's mining Monero, and it's heating the coffee with the heat transfer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I actually hold on. I'll show you something. Let me see if I can even pull this off, but my office is kind of a
Oh,
cluster.
here we go.
because
Esperanto for fire.
Yeah.
Girl.
There you go. Yeah, of course Chloe is on it like immediately. You know.
How do you pronounce that? Faro?
Yeah, I guess Faro. I don't know.
Fajro?
No, the J is kind of like a European.
Oh, it's like a
Faro. Yeah, but this is like a coffee warmer. But I was thinking you just put a mining device inside of one of these. You see, and there's thermal transfer that way. It keeps your coffee warm while you're mining Monero. See, that's how that.
And that would be a good way to that would be a good way of cooling the chip, at least while the coffee was cold or whatever was cool.
Well, it's just you let
Cool
it
the chip
thermal
with-
throttle when it's not picking up enough heat, so it kind of like it raises the ambient temperature for the container, so it loses its temperature like kind of slower. But it's all about finding ways to mine Monero. But you know, whatever. Sorry, my my office is a bit of a cluster, but there was a small team of coders in this tiny little room, so there's like tables and computers everywhere, and like we were building some software over the last couple of weeks. But yeah,
Somebody's selling a BitAxe mini Monero ASIC miner for
No, that's a,
0.33.
BitAxe is a Bitcoin miner.
yeah, it uses
Yeah,
SHA.
that's what I meant. A Bitcoin miner,
Yeah.
a little like mini ASIC.
Well, I mean, I guess it is a Monero miner because what are you going to do with that Bitcoin? We all know what you're going to do with that Bitcoin. You know? It's like
Interesting.
You're gonna go on a Ritu and trade it for Monero.
So the other thing that I've
also
been trying to
selling
figure
Monero.
out like how I was gonna say it because I don't want to dox anybody. But people loosely affiliated with like the venture capital world are now also having a very deep interest in privacy tech like never before. So I just because of what I do, I tend to be, let's say, VC adjacent, you know, and a lot of those people, even at like meetings that have something to do with like a completely different topic altogether, I'm finding more and more of the conversation is about things like graphene and Monero than whatever the agenda is at hand. And so I'm telling you guys, like, I really genuinely think that we might be closer than we realize to the avant-garde adoption stage of Monero, which is probably the most important part of the adoption cycle. When people realize the utility of it all.
Just as long as we don't get to the point where people can take 100x leverage on Monero, because that's when you have price issues and can't use it properly.
Well, the thing is the infrastructure has been taken away to do that for the most part, and they would first have to build it back. And so my question to you is, so let's say, think of it as though we're fighting a war, because we are, and it's Alaskan. So of course I'm going to talk about it that way. If they cede that much ground that they fought so hard to gain, but the infrastructure that we've built around having less of a concern of that. So in other words, like the decentralized exchange thing, that's now a Monero game. There were a lot of people that were interested in it, but Monero dug in as deep as you could. And all of these other mechanisms by which, I mean, we already have a culture of not your keys, not your coins. Bitcoin tried to do it, but they failed. Well, the thing is the risk for the 100x leverage is extraordinarily high when it comes to Monero. So you would be taking on way more risk if you were to leverage bet either for or against Monero, because if there was a run on that Monero, which is a very likely scenario, and also think about the distribution of Monero. it's becoming absolutely ridiculous. Like there are so many people so widely distributed in the Monero game that I'm not saying it's not a concern. Let's be clear about that. But as far as a battle goes, and in the larger war, they would have to put up significantly more resources with a much higher risk profile. And in my opinion, at this stage in Monero, even though I've always hated the idea of like leveraged bets on Monero, because it would kind of it would hamstring the ultimate goal. At this point, I now find myself in a different position where that would be an opportunity for a coup de grace on our opponents. If they were to leverage that hard and you pushed a massive run on Monero, because we already have pricing power in a lot of areas. So like if people want to buy something from us and we post it in Monero and we're posting it at higher prices than their shorts, well, because they can buy low and then purchase assets. If you can buy low and purchase those assets, it compounds the risk profile. I hope I'm saying that right. I realized that was like a word salad. I don't know. What do you guys think? Did that even make sense?
Vaguely, but it was very word salady.
At the risk of just doing it again, I guess what I'm saying is the risk reward proposition of trying to do a leverage move with Monero is higher now. And as far as the battlefield of people pushing for Monero adoption versus people that are trying to, tax control and regulate the entire ecosystem and like squeeze the little guy, it's a more dangerous bet for our opponents to try something like that with Monero as hardened as it is. Is that better? I hope that's better.
Oh yeah, that makes
sense. That's better. And give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. If Caesar wants dollars, then you give him just as many dollars as he wants, while you're over here using Monero.
Actually, since Yuli is on, I think there's something I have to do.
Here's somebody on X looking at Monero's cup and handle, thinking it will go to around the 500 range perhaps in the next couple of months and then break out to 1,600.
I think Monero where it's at right now at 218 is perfect.
It's interesting to see these people, right? Because you have this guy, I mean, he looks like he's got like 17K followers on X. Just somebody that follows different cryptos, not a Monero bro. But a lot of people are just looking at the Monero chart these days. People that aren't even necessarily interested in Monero, but from a charting perspective, see it as being an encouraging investment. Nice to see. Guys, anybody else? We could end it early today. Nothing wrong with that. I don't mind getting some sunshine.
Yeah, I gotta head off
looking
in a
good
couple
with
minutes
your hat.
myself.
Nope, I'm good. Only thing I gotta say is if you're a user on XMR Bazaar and somebody posts something in fiat, message them and ask them if they can post it in Monero instead.
I will make you happy, Shortwave. Okay, I'm going to put up some computer hardware and I will put it up for Monero. Okay.
Perfect. Perfect. That's absolutely wonderful.
In XMR.
That is perfect. Wonderful.
Let me scroll up to the comments, make sure I didn't miss any super chats because I think there was a couple a while back.
Yeah, Lucifer.
So I have a thing going right now where I should be done before the end of the summer season, but I'm buying cars that can't spy on you, like cars pre-2000.
Like my 2004 Honda Accord.
Yeah, and I'm buying a whole bunch of these, and I'm kind of like pimping them out so that, like, I mean, as far as reliability and utility, not so much like, pimp my ride sort of thing, but
it's like Pimp My Ride Apocalypse Edition.
Yeah, it's the Apocalypse Edition, exactly. But the idea is people who want to come to Alaska for like vacation purposes, they'll be able to rent a vehicle in Monero. And then I also am working on fuel cards. So you can buy fuel cards for Monero that are good all along your trips to wherever you're trying to go. And so for using only Monero, you'll be able to get a car and it'll be like registered and all of that other stuff. And I'm sure you guys have noticed, like they even have vanity license plates that say Monero on them and stuff. If anybody has been looking at this thing. And then on top of that, you can pay for all of your fuel with Monero. So it's the first step to an Alaskan vacation fueled entirely by Monero.
Nice. And I think there are some travel sites like I think Travala or somebody used to do it where you could buy plane tickets for Monero so you could fly into Alaska with Monero.
Yes, Travala did have that.
Or you can just ask me and I'll buy your plane ticket and you can pay me back in Monero. We're cool.
Oh, that's a good point because Alaska needs more Monero. He's like, give me more Monero. I need more.
We're getting desperate. I mean, Yuli managed to claw some out of me in the last 10 minutes, but the thing is I can't do the art thing, so I need him. And he's only taking the Monero. This is what we need to do, ladies and gentlemen. You want access to Yuli, you gotta put up the Monero, right? So it's like I need these mugs. Where am I gonna get them? XMR Bazaar. How am I gonna pay for them? Monero. What choice do I have, people? I have to part with my precious Monero in order to get these mugs.
It's all part of that glorious parallel economy we're building.
You definitely
yes, Alaskan. Even you have to spend your XMR.
Yep.
It hurts.
GigaHelm tipped $4.16. Speaking of leverage and volatility, there are lots of exchanges to buy and sell XMR, but we still don't have. Oh, wait, I think I read this one earlier on James Options Market. I read that one. There's another one from you that I accidentally skipped over. Where is it? There it is. GigaHelm tipped $1. I've decided to sell my property and move to a cheap country. I have worked out the return on investment from my existing equity over the mortgage term is magnitudes greater if I invest in my favorite stock in XMR. Very nice.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Opting out.
It's odd how he's basically saying what I just talked about earlier, where a savvy investor is almost being railroaded into private currencies.
That's a good point. Oh, speaking of property and other things like that, you guys mentioned that property in Georgia that's available. Well, I'd like to talk about another thing in Georgia that's in the state of Georgia, in Dahlonega, where you can rent yourself a cabin.
For Monero?
Yeah.
For Monero? Oh.
I'm almost certain I saw it on XMR Bazaar where you could rent a cabin in Georgia, the state, for Monero in Dahlonega.
Valerie Larkin tipped 25 cents. Monero Talk is the best. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Valerie.
Very true. I don't think I see any more.
This is the best show in crypto. We have 663 live viewers, according to the counter here.
We just needed 3 more.
Nah, no.
I'm good.
Vibes here.
Maybe more than 3 would be fine.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's kill it here. Everybody can get back to living their lives.
All right. Have a good week.
Yeah,
Thanks,
we'll
everyone.
see you guys in a week. We do these shows every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. And we'll see you next week. I'll likely be doing a Monero Talk this week, as I always do. And we're posting the Monerotopia conference videos, all of them. All 4 days of conference videos are debuting, I think, starting Thursday of this week. So if you've been waiting for those, sorry it's taken so long. We've been a little busy with other things. Those are all going up.
Hey,
enjoy.
There was a couple of days on the live stream where there were live issues where they actually recorded in person as well. So the ones that had issues with the live stream are actually properly fixed via local recording. Or no?
Well, I think all of them went up, streamed. All of them streamed. When you say issues, what type of issues?
There was a couple of issues where I remember the Saturday morning had where you ended up with the music for a bunch of the talk or whatever. So like somebody was talking on the main stage, but it wasn't streaming.
I can't guarantee it, but I was there and I was kind of helping the AV guys out. I don't believe any of the local side of the StreamYard recording was disrupted at the same time. So I would be willing to wager it's more likely than not that there is a good copy to post.
Okay, yeah, we had them edit it. Somebody edit together. She's done it for us in years past, and I believe we gave her the local copy as well. So I'm hoping that's all there myself.
Cool. Okay.
Obviously, I know there's parts where like the quality just sucks in terms of like what they were focusing on when they first like. You'll see like when the conference starts, it's like me talking, and it's like not even like I'm not even being shown on the stage, but you can hear me. But then we get better as we go.
Ladies and
always
gentlemen,
a work in progress.
If you agree with me about the panels that happened on that particular conference, some of the panels were worth their weight in gold. And keep in mind, if you would like to see another Monerotopia, bigger and better and badder than ever, you can donate to the next Monerotopia. Or, far more ideal, you can show up to the next Monerotopia. Every year is better than the last, and you would be fools not to find a way to attend what I suppose is probably February, Lord willing.
February 2026, yes.
Yep.
We already,
and those
already
of
booked the
you
spot.
native to a Arctic climate, you have the added incentive of a Mexico vacation in the cold of winter. So come on down. I will be there. I can't wait to see y'all.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Yeah. The true value comes from being there for sure. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll close it out here. Thank you, Tux. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
Alaska,
Thanks, guys.
Shortwave, Ulysses.
Buy your chips.
Have a great week.
Thank you, guys. You too.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odyssey, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group.